What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto lost his wife and mother in a bet? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description to original creator of this beautiful creation. Some days, he felt it. That something wasn't quite right. He didn't know what it was, but it churned in his stomach and bit at his brain until he distracted himself with other thoughts. Like work. He would work and work and work until those thoughts went away. Because those thoughts were wrong. He knew they were wrong. That he should be ashamed of those doubts that made him question something like this. Missions are easier to think about. And his path towards becoming Hokage. They make sense. He knows his goals and he knows what he will do to accomplish them. The thoughts go away. Naruto-kun? And just as quickly, they would resurface. Just like now. He glances up. She is staring at him, questioningly, and with a furrowed brow. A stack of laundry is balanced on her forearms and he blinks, realizing that he has blanked out in the middle of a conversation. His hands drop to the shirt on his bed and he quickly refolds it, adding it to his own pile of laundry. Nothing's wrong. He answers automatically before she can ask him the dreaded question. Dreaded, because he himself has no idea what is so wrong. He sees the way she sucks in her bottom lip and he can't help looking away shamefully. He worries her, he knows. And she doesn't deserve that. Well, she continues. You should be on your way, right? For your mission? He nods and stands from the bed, reaching for his forehead protector on the dresser. She stands to walk him to the door, shaky legs making her wobble. He places a hand on her back to help steady her. Wrong. They walk to the front door and she watches him as he tucks on his boots and straightens his clothes. When he finishes, they look at each other expectantly. Wrong. Good luck. Thanks. Come back to me, okay? I will. Wrong. And to Boruto. She adds, placing a hand on her stomach. His hand joins hers. I will. Wrong. With that, he opens the door and walks away. Naruto Uzumaki does not know what is so wrong. With his wife. With his child. His fists clench. Wrong. One day, he heads out to buy groceries. Not ramen, of course, but things that normal people buy. Milk, eggs, butter, cream cheese, bagels. He never thought he'd ever be eating bagels for breakfast, but he does. Bagels, with scrambled eggs, and coffee. It makes him feel like an adult, to eat real breakfast, and wear clean underwear every day. Having a wife can change your lifestyle, he supposes. Not oblivious to the excited whispers and giggles surrounding him, he pays the grocer and heads home. He's not keen on being out in public anymore, it's too much of a hassle. Some days he wishes the villagers would go back to ignoring him, but he quickly reminds himself how far he has come and how far he still needs to go. There are people counting on him, watching him, he knows. People that support him and want to see him accomplish his dream. With that thought, he thinks of a girl he hasn't seen in a long while and idly wonders what she is up to. Maybe missions? Clan stuff? He doesn't know, doesn't think much of it. Besides, he comments to himself, if he ever needs her, then she'll be there like she always was. He cuts across a small playground to save time, checking around for any villagers who might see him and try to approach. It is in that moment of alert cerulean eyes scanning the periphery that he catches the sight of something that makes him freeze. She's here, sitting on a bench. Naruto stares and stares, trying to remember when she had let her hair grow out. Or, more importantly, when she had stopped wearing that jacket of hers. He almost hadn't recognized her without it, until he had caught sight of the eyes that had always reminded him of the moon. He'd never forget eyes like that. Eyes like hers. When he comes back to his senses, he starts to wonder what she is doing. She's alone, a hand folded under her thigh as if protecting it from the cold, and her other hand fisted under her chin. She looks thoughtful, lost in her own mind. He can tell by the bouncing of her knee that she is uneasy. Nervous, maybe. What's wrong? Just as he decides he should probably go check on her, his question is answered. His perfect view of Hinata is blocked by the back of a man who is leaning towards her, stooping to her eye level. Quickly, she stands, hands coming to her sides and clutching at the fabric of her skirt. They stare at each other for a few seconds, speaking quietly to each other. Naruto watches carefully, wondering if he should intervene. Clearly, this man is making her uncomfortable. Mind made up, he moves to step forward just as the two move to step away. Together, side by side, they walk slowly, further and further away from him, and he can see the backs of their heads tilt towards each other. He says something. She smiles. Naruto can tell because she has looked away. He stands there and stares, even when they are no longer in view. He's not sure how long exactly, only that by the time he has gotten home, the milk is warm. His son looks just like him, he thinks fondly as he watches the baby blonde boy. He's only a few weeks old, but he's his spitting image. The blonde tuft on his small soft head is lovingly combed back with bandaged fingers. Blue eyes open sleepily, regarding the smiling man in front of him. Naruto has never felt so happy. Don't rub his head so harshly, you'll hurt him. She warns from the sidelines, watching carefully with dark scrutinizing eyes. He glances at her partly in annoyance, and another in curiosity. Most of the time, she's level-headed. Doesn't scream or snap at him too often. But ever since Boruto was born, she's been so. He sighs. Here, she continues, stretching out her arms. I'm going to lay him down. Naruto hands over the baby easily enough, knowing he'll get fussy if he's not curled up in his blankets soon. Okay, hey, make sure that he's not too warm. Sakura says. I don't care what Sakura says. She whirls on him, and he realizes his mistake in bringing up a name that is not welcome in his household. Before he can correct himself, her rampage has started. I'm Boruto's mother, not Sakura. He holds up his arms in surrender. Okay. Damn it, calm down. Her eyes narrow and she looks like she is about to say something before deciding against it. Naruto's eyes widen at the scene. He has not seen her hold anything back for a long time. Quickly, she storms away from him into the nursery. He knows better than to follow. Sighing, he throws himself on the couch, trying his best not to think. He starts to get angry when he thinks. It's my fault, he decides. I know how she feels about Sakura-chan and I still brought her up. It's been a while since he's hung out with her. Has only seen her in passing, really. Another surge of bitterness passes through him. He had always thought that Sakura would deliver his baby. Turns out she's not really trained as a midwife, and when he had told her of his intentions, she had laughed out loud and turned away from him. It had taken him a few seconds to realize her shoulders were shaking, not from laughter but by her sobbing. She was happy, she told him. Touched and honored. He had felt so happy that he had felt like crying too. She apologized for not being able to deliver his baby, but she had told him excitedly that she really wanted to be there when he was born. I don't have to be in the room with her, she said quickly. I can wait outside, right? He had agreed, but when news reached his wife that Sakura was handling her files and monitoring the progression of Boruto's development, she had thrown a vase at him. A vase of flowers that he had given her. The next day, he found out that she had personally gone to see Granny Tsunade and demanded to keep her files from Sakura. She didn't want her anywhere near her or her baby, and she had personally selected her own midwife. By the way, she had said as they walked home from the hospital from a checkup. I don't want anyone there after I give birth. Just you. Just me? I can't invite anybody? She was silent for a few smoldering seconds. Your parents aren't here anymore, and mine are back home. I don't see why anybody else should be here. He didn't say anything after that. She always brought up the fact that she didn't have anyone here. That she was all alone because her family and her friends were back in her home country. I left them for you. She would scream whenever he had pissed her off. I'm here all alone, locked up in this house, with nobody, and you don't care. Of course he cares. He wants her to have friends. He wants her to be friends with his friends. He had envisioned her and Sakura becoming best buddies, going out to lunch and doing girl things together like shopping and painting their toenails or whatever girls did. He thought she was so much like Sakura that they were bound to get along. Maybe they would have if it hadn't been for him. They had clashed at first meeting each other, he realized. At the time, their insults and shortness came in passive aggressiveness he wasn't savvy enough to see through. And then she'd start to tense up whenever he mentioned his friend. It didn't take long before she told him tearfully that she didn't like it when he called her Sakura-chan. Of course he had no choice but to agree to stop. His friends would later assure him that it was bound to happen. Wives and best female friends don't mesh well. Naruto decided not to push a friendship between the two of them like he had planned to, and he set his sights on the rest of his friends. The blonde is a whore, she had said as they walked home from a small get-together with Team 10. Naruto had been so shocked that he didn't know what to say. He couldn't help feeling bothered. Ino was his trusted comrade and, more importantly, a close friend. But she was his wife. So he did not say anything as she continued. Look at the way she dresses, are all kunoichi that provocative? He didn't answer, but he knows for a fact that they are not, and neither is Ino. The guys are okay. The fat one's kind of weird though. And the other one kept staring at me the whole time. She pursed her glossed lips and clicked her tongue a few times. Her opinions of the rest of his comrades didn't go well either. Naruto had almost lost his temper and snapped at her when she loudly expressed her disgust and fear of the loud green-clad ninja, with the awful haircut. Lee hadn't taken it too personally, but he made a point of staying away from her and not greeting her as youthfully anymore. And Naruto could tell from the fire in Sakura's and Tenten's eyes that his wife had crossed a line. Poking fun at Lee and ribbing him was good fun when they did it because it meant nothing. Lee was one of their best friends and was, in his opinion, one of the most admirable people he had ever met. His wife did not agree. Her insults were real and she meant every word of them. That was why he really didn't like arguing with her, but they ended up arguing all the time. Then, she'd cry and he'd calm down. It didn't take him too long before realizing that was her way of winning their fights. They had passed by Kiba on the way to the market, and Shino on their way back, and she had snorted when he thought to mention to her the good times they had. Kiba's a loudmouth jerk, but he means well. Akamaru's real cool too. I fought them during the Chunin exams, remember? At her shrug, he tried not to be offended. And Shino's kind of creepy and he doesn't talk much, but he always has your back. He's dependable and he's actually really cool when he's not ignoring you. They're part of Team 8 and their specialty is Team 8? She surprisingly interjected, and he remembered that he had mentioned them in passing before. Where's their girl teammate? I haven't met her. Her eyes were already narrowed in suspicion. The way they always were when he mentioned any girl around her. Naruto paused, suddenly aware that he had been very careful to never mention her. Subconsciously avoided them all when she was there. He's not sure why, but he knows for a fact that his wife would hate her. Even more than Sakura-chan. And he didn't think he could stand it if his wife said anything negative about Hinata. I don't know where she is. Hey, wanna get ramen? She had met nearly all of his friends, everyone, except her, in the first few days that he had brought her home. He had learned very quickly she didn't really like anyone and preferred it if he didn't spend so much time with them. She was his wife, after all, and she had used some pretty convincing methods to coax him into staying home with her. Naruto, can you come here? Her voice echoes from down the hallway. Yeah, just a sec. He rolls off the couch and quickly heads to the nursery. What's up? He approaches her slowly as she stands in front of the crib, watching their son. Her voice is stern and cold when she asks, who's Neji? The question makes his blood run cold. For a heart-stopping millisecond, all he sees is white eyes. Brown hair, blood, horrible pain, a bare forehead. He doesn't know how to answer. He doesn't want to answer. He's told her everything, he acknowledges, but not this. Never this. Finally, he answers. Who told you? The girl with the buns. She stopped me when I was walking with Boruto outside. She asked me why my son was named in honor of her teammate. There's a tense silence that Naruto is reluctant to fill. She asked me if I even knew anything about him. Asked me why I thought to name him Boruto. I told her what you told me. You said you liked the name and that it sounds like yours. She knows now that this was a lie. Tell me, why did you name our son after a dead man you used to know? And why didn't you ever tell me? Naruto thinks of her question and answers honestly because Boruto is her son too. He tells her that Neji was an important friend of his and had taught him so much. Neji was a brave man, he tells her, and he gave his life in battle for me. I thought I'd honor him by naming my son Boruto because their names mean the same thing. Plus, it sounds like mine. He does not tell her that he had chosen his son's name because whenever he says it aloud, he remembers. Remembers a bond between two cousins that he had fought hard to repair. Remembers a vow dipped in blood. Remembers him and swells with gratitude. Remembers her and her palm on his cheek. His hand gripped with hers. Of course, he does not tell his wife. And they pass a year like that. He's sitting in the Hokage's office, waiting for another stack of papers Kakashi-sensei has been having him fill out as practice. The world is so peaceful, it's almost boring. He and his friends rarely go on missions anymore. Fresher Chunin need the experience after all, and there's hardly ever a need for a Jonin, except as backup on escort missions. He's so bored, he wants to cry, he thinks to himself. Idly, he stares out the window and watches Konoha. The activity amuses him for a few minutes. He sees a toddler run away from his mother and smiles when she chases after him. He sees academy kids weaving through the crowds, playing ninja, and throwing imaginary shuriken. He sees genin teams being led to their D-rank missions. He knows this because he helped assign them. He sees a girl with long indigo hair holding hands with a brown-haired boy. Naruto is at the windowsill before he can stop himself, staring with wide eyes. It's her. He knows it's her, but he doesn't know who that man is. Certainly not any of their friends. Not a ninja either. He studied the registry of all the shinobi in their village. His eyes zoom in on their joined hands, wondering why they would walk around in public like that. Suddenly, his mind takes him back to that day he saw her in the park walking with that same brown-haired man. The memory strikes him cold. A loud thud nearly makes him jump and he quickly turns around. Kakashi straightens the stack of papers he has just dropped on the desk and looks back at his pupil tiredly. Let's get started on these now, it'll take a while to sort through them. Naruto blinks in surprise and then quickly turns back to the window only to discover that they are already gone. Unwillingly, he steps away from the windowsill and hurries back to the desk, ready to dive into the world of the Hokage that will help him forget. Remember, Kakashi says as they both settle in their chairs. Scheduling missions has everything to do with success rates. A mission failed on a Monday could be a victory on Tuesday. Right. Naruto grumbles. He picks up the first sheet and examines it. This one is an escort for a couple of merchants going to the next country. He falls silent, thinking, and Kakashi watches him. Team 16 comes back from their mission in 3 days, on Tuesday. They can take this mission on Wednesday then, right? But Team 14 is on their day off and are back in rotation tomorrow. We could take care of this mission sooner if we use them. Naruto shakes his head. Team 14 scores higher on ninjutsu, but Team 16 has a Hyuga. His eyes narrow slightly and he quickly snaps himself out of it. So, they're better suited. The pass the merchants are taking go through a few mountains, so there are bound to be bandits. The Byakugan will be a big help. Kakashi nods. Good work. That was an easy one though. Hey, I know. Naruto grins as he picks up a pen and fills out the details of the mission. For the next 3 hours, the two go through various mission requests and the best assignments that can be given to them. I think I'll ask Lee and Tenten to supervise on this one. The genin in this team could use some exposure to close combat. Let's see, this Thursday should be fine. At this, Kakashi turned to him quizzically. This Thursday? The 20th? Yeah? Why? Is something going on? You're kidding, right? It's not my birthday, is it? Naruto asks, half joking. He's forgotten before. Kakashi sighs exasperatedly and kneads his hands behind his head. Guess you've forgotten. Hinata's getting married on Thursday, so I'm pretty sure Lee and Tenten won't be able to take this mission or any of your other friends for that matter. Got anybody else in mind? Kakashi opens up their file of the mission rotation schedule for this ranking and doesn't notice his pupil stiffen in his chair. The silver-haired Hokage hums to himself as his eyes scan over the documents but his mind is elsewhere. Can't wait for that feast. Hinata told me Yakiniki Q's catering so it's bound to be Naruto? Alarmed, he stares at his slack-jawed student who is staring holes into the wall. What's the matter with you? Snapping out of it, Naruto turns back to his teacher. What? Oh, yeah. I forgot. He mutters. Hinata's getting married. I forgot. This is a lie because Naruto had no idea she was getting married. Not now or ever. Regite. Let's call it a night. You seem tired. We'll pick this up tomorrow morning. No, I'm fine. Naruto snaps, quickly snatching another mission request. Kakashi has no choice but to sit down and continue monitoring him. Naruto acts as natural as possible, deciding the best course was by talking. A lot. Wow, this Thursday already? Time sure flies, huh Kakashi-sensei? His pen flies at top speed over the document. It's great that she's getting married. Isn't it? Yeah, it's great. Hey, I told her once that she'd make a heck of a wife someday and now look, she's out there, and she's going to be someone's wife. Hey, whoever thought? Yeah, it's great and all, but it's a little early too, don't you think? Hinata's real young too. Sakura's not getting married yet and neither is Ino or Tenten. Dunno why she has to get married now but I guess the early bird gets the worm, right? Naruto laughs at his own proverb, though he's pretty sure it has nothing to do with the situation at hand. Well, some like to settle down quickly. Yeah, well, settling down sucks. He blurts without realizing it. Kakashi stiffens and turns in his chair to face the wide-eyed Hokage in training. I mean, Naruto? Is something wrong? Kakashi can't help but reach out a hand hesitantly, but Naruto quickly waves it away. Sorry, I'm just a little stressed out is all. He rubs at the back of his head. Kakashi stares knowingly at him before sighing again and rubbing the bridge of his nose. I'm going to get some coffee. I'll be right back, he murmurs half-heartedly, inwardly sighing at the thought of the long night ahead of them. Naruto watches him leave and feels like an overreacting fool. His friends were bound to get married someday. Even Hinata. You're married too, he realizes. And you have a child. You have your family already. Now Hinata is going to get hers. He's happy for her because he knows that she is happy for him. Naruto returns to his training, diligently finishing up a report, painfully aware of the blood pounding in his ears. Later that night, he finds the wedding invitation he thought he had never received. Naruto fishes the thick crumpled envelope out of the kitchen garbage bin and turns it over, recognizing Hinata's neat and loopy handwriting that spells out his name and address. Even the name of his wife is spelled out next to his own. He sees that it has already been opened and pulls out the white card. You're invited. Please join Kosuke Hamasaki and Hinata Hyuga as two lives become one. Darkened cobalt eyes scan over the date and address and land on the inner corner of the card where a purple pen has left a note for him. Naruto-kun, I know how busy you are these days, but I hope you can make it. It would mean very much to me. By the way, Tucci-san has agreed to cater for a few hours smiley face. Yours always, Hinata. Fire bubbles in his stomach as he checks the date of the envelope and realizes his wife threw this letter away almost a month ago. She had never planned on telling him. She had wanted him to miss the wedding of one of his dearest friends. And Hinata had asked for an RSVP that clearly had never been sent. He tucks the card into his pocket and storms into their bedroom where she is flipping through a book, deciding he has every right to pick a fight. Their argument escalates into a full-blown quarrel, and picture frames are smashed, vases hurtled, and punches are thrown, all of them by her. He seizes her wrists before she can try another useless hit and demands, why? Her glare is cold as she stares into his eyes. I know who she is to you. You think I don't, but I do. You thought I wouldn't find out, but I did. He releases her quickly, as if her touch burned him. I don't know what you're talking about. Hinata's my friend and this is really important to her, so I. Save it, you idiot. The only one you're fooling is yourself. She breathes heavily and shoves him away from her, only managing to push herself back. She doesn't want you there. Trust me. At this, he can't stop from snapping, you don't know anything about her. I know that you're the last person she'll want to see at her wedding. After me, at least. She is surprisingly calm as she says this and Naruto's instincts are on high alert. What are you talking about? What am I talking about? I'm talking about the fact that this girl is clearly in love with you. She smirks as he freezes up, his eyes widening to white saucers. His jaw drops. Or, at least, she used to be. Naruto doesn't know how to react. Though he is still frozen in shock, his brain reminds him how unlikely that is. That she is just trying to provoke him and piss him off. But one look into her grinning eyes tells him everything. He realizes just now how clever his wife really is. Not in the strategic sense like Shikamaru, or even academically like Sakura, and definitely not anything remotely similar to the wisdom in Jiraiya. This is a cleverness that sees through everything. That knows a person's weakness with one look into their eyes. Her cleverness was what separated her from all the other girls who had thrown themselves at him in his first tour around the world shortly after the Fourth Great War. Her cleverness had seen straight through him and knew how to get him to agree to a date, and to the one after that. Seducing him had been child's play to her, and convincing him that marriage was the only solution to her unexpected pregnancy had been even easier. He sees her eyes and her knowing stare and wonders how he could have missed it. She had planned this all along, from the moment she found out that the Naruto Uzumaki was coming to her village. He sees the true colors that had hidden themselves away until it was safe to come out, until it was too late to turn back. He sees and he knows that this time, she isn't lying. She has no reason to. Realization hits him like a Rasengan to his heart. Only the Rasengan hurts less. Her arms cross over her chest as she turns back to the bed and climbs back in, picking up her book and resuming where she left off. I'm not going to her wedding. If you really think it's a good idea, go ahead. And because she is so clever, she knows that he will not. On Thursday, the 20th, Naruto tells his friends he's not feeling well and sends Hinata a letter with a very short message. I'm sorry. Naruto Uzumaki is the 7th Hokage and the world is at peace. Kakashi-sensei is happily retired but also a valuable member of his council. Most of his friends have already married, except for the ones who have decided not to, and their children study to become the shinobi of the next generation. His life is so perfect that he almost can't believe it. Naruto signs an important letter, dates it, and then glances at the framed photograph on his desk. Boruto Uzumaki's foxy grin stares back at him and love swells in him. Damn it, he loves that kid. Loves him so much that it's easy to forget how much he can hate the little brat too. Just a few hours ago, he had watched as his son forcibly cleaned off the graffiti he had painted onto the Hokage monument, but not without his fair share of insults, wails, and accusations. You never pay attention to me. You're supposed to be my dad, and you're never home. I don't care if the village needs you too. I didn't choose to be your son. Naruto frowns. He had known that Boruto might not adapt easily to his new position, but he really thought he would eventually understand. He had taught him all about his predecessors, especially the fourth, his own grandfather. He was hurt but not shocked to see that Boruto cared for none of it. The kid was such a brat. He admits to himself it's probably because his son takes after him very strongly. He was emotional as hell, and after years of being the center of his parents' lives, he didn't take sharing the spotlight well. He acted up the way Naruto had done when he had been his age. Trouble, he realized, was the best way to get attention. Insults were another one of his specialties. Like his mother's, they always hit close to home. Naruto can see her cleverness in Boruto's knowing blue eyes, the arch of his brow, the sharpness of his jaw and cheekbone. Boruto being a whiny brat would be fine, expected, really, had it not been for the way he so callously treated others. He regarded Shino without the slightest hint of respect and didn't care for any of his classmates. The new Ino Shika Cho generation are, according to him, predictable and boring. Plus, Chocho's fat and weird, Shikadai's a know-it-all, and Inojin's mom is a whore. He had received a sound smack to the temple at that. Even Sarada Uchiha, who Naruto had thought might have been able to strike a friendship with his son, came in tears and an angry mother in tow after a horrible comment Boruto had said about her father. Sakura had almost demolished his office, demanding to know why he would tell Boruto about Sasuke's dark days. Naruto had insisted he hadn't told Boruto anything, and they had both realized just who had. Boruto was every bit the annoying troublemaker Naruto had been, and while Naruto was a pretty nice guy, it seemed it wasn't enough to balance the mischievous kid. Compassion and kindness was something Boruto sorely lacked. With a sigh, he decides he should probably get home before his son makes it back from school. Today of all days, he knows he should go home for dinner. The sky is a terrific blue as he heads home and the day is perfect. Naruto nods and waves simple greetings to passing villagers who all stop and stare at their famous Hokage. He doesn't blame them, he rarely mingles with them. After all, he's never been so busy in his life. He passes by the Konoha Cemetery and Memorial and he decides to pay his respects before heading home. It's been a while since he has had the chance to stop by and say a few words. He visits the graves of the third Hokage, Asuma-sensei, Shikaku Nara, and Inoichi Yamanaka and mumbles words of thanks. He bows at the memorial of the Third Great Shinobi War, stares and silently prays as he kneels before the memorial of the Fourth Great Shinobi War. He has one more stop to make before heading home and he crosses over there hurriedly. He realizes very quickly that Neji Hyuga's grave is currently being visited. Hinata Hamasaki looms over the plaque, hands on her bent knees, and long indigo ponytail picking up in the breeze. A little girl kneels beside her, her bright yellow shirt similar to the petals of the vase of sunflowers in front of them. They speak quietly to each other and Naruto is stunned and horrified to realize how long it has been since he has heard her voice. Of course, since these flowers have the same name as you, Himawari. Himawari, Naruto thinks. Hinata's daughter. The little girl giggles. Next time, maybe Papa will come with us. There is a moment of silence and Naruto realizes he has been discovered. He braces himself, bandaged hand forming a fist before immediately relaxing as he stares and waits to be acknowledged. It's like slow motion as he watches her straighten and turn her head slowly to regard him. Pale eyes widen and his own blue ones can't stop themselves from staring. Motherhood suits her, he discovers, as she turns fully to face him. Slowly, he takes a few steps towards her. "Hinata, it's been a while," he says sheepishly, hand scratching the back of his head. Hinata doesn't respond, only continues to stare until a hand tugs on her shirt. "Mama," Himawari whispers, ducking to hide behind her mother from the strange man. This snaps Hinata out of her stupor and she gently pulls her daughter to her side. "Mind your manners. Say hi to the nice man, he is your Hokage." Her eyes lift back to Naruto's and she speaks again, this time to him. "Hokage-sama, this is Himawari. My daughter." Naruto bites down on the corner of his lip at the sight of the young girl. She looks so much like Hinata that it hurts. Her hair and her face, the softness of her features, the gentleness of her expression. The way her little fingers play shyly with each other as she looks up at him and then quickly looks away. It reminds him of a time he wishes he could go back to. Gingerly, he steps closer and bends his knees to meet her eyes. "Hey Himawari, it's nice to meet you." She smiles at him bashfully and then turns her head to bury in Hinata's leg. Naruto's heart jumps at the sight and he can't help the fondness he feels towards her. Maybe it's the nostalgia, he reasons. He lets himself look at her for one more moment before pulling away. Himawari Hamasaki is the most beautiful little girl he has ever seen. And yet he cannot stand to look at her. He cannot help but recoil at the sight of the light hazel eyes she carries or the freckles on her cheeks. Traits that he knows she did not receive from her mother. He smiles at her once more before standing to his full height, which is a good foot above Hinata. The top of her head barely comes to his chin, he realizes. Hinata is still staring at him, a question in her eyes and Naruto quickly answers. I wanted to come see Neji. Pay my respects, you know." "Oh." Hinata ducks her head, a small smile on her lips. "I see, thank you. I'm the one who should be thanking him," he says decisively, eyes narrowing slightly and Hinata's brow dips at the sight of his fleeting turmoil. His eyes drop back down to Himawari and he clears his throat. "Himawari, your uncle Neji is one of the bravest men I ever knew. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him." His eyes flash back to Hinata's. This time, he does not look away. "Or for your mom." Their stares meet and hold and for a few seconds, Naruto feels as if his world is slowly fading away. There is nothing but Hinata and her knowing eyes. And then Himawari's tiny voice breaks him out of his trance. This is Naruto-kun?" She whispers to her mother. The Hokage's head snaps to Himawari in complete surprise to hear her say his name like that. When he glances back at Hinata, his throat locks up at the sight of her darkening cheeks, a signal of her embarrassment. Hinata clears her throat softly. Naruto-kun was an important part of Neji Nisan's life, after all. "I told her about everything you've done for him." Her eyes close briefly and Naruto wonders if his heart is going to jump out of his chest, it's pounding so violently. The knowledge that Hinata has told her daughter stories of him, it makes him feel almost short of breath. But thankful mostly, so thankful. He wants to thank her, ask her how her life has been, tell her he hopes she's happy. Apologize for drifting away from her. But he is content to stand there and watch her pretend not to notice his stares until she breaks their silence. Taking Himawari's hand, she bows politely to him. "It was nice to see you, Naruto-kun. I hope you are doing well. Remember to rest, I know you can overdo it sometimes." She smiles at him and he grins sheepishly at her honesty. "Have a nice night." He can only repeat her words back to her in a mumble as he watches the mother and daughter slowly trail out of the cemetery. When he gets home, he sits down for dinner and ignores the way his son loudly berates him for being late. He disregards his wife as she stares at him suspiciously. He tunes out the rest of the world as his mind plays and replays his meeting with Hinata and Himawari. Nothing can ruin today. Nothing. Winter is a beautiful sight in Konoha. A light layer of snow hangs off the leaves of trees and the roofs of homes, bringing with it a chill that requires jackets and hats. Well, except for Naruto. The cold doesn't really affect him. Now that his chakra control is so good, he can use it to even out his temperature without even trying. Anyways, he thinks, ramen can warm him better than any coat or hat can. Besides him, his wife and son sit and sip from their own bowls. It has taken a little bit of time and a lot of effort on his part, but he really is trying to patch up his relationship with his family. He tries to understand things from their point of view and he knows he should be more sensitive to their needs and feelings. So far, it has worked. He managed to get them to agree to come out and mingle with the village. "Dad," Boruto whines. "Just tell me. You won't put that loser Mitsuki in my team, will you?" Naruto sighs heavily through his nose. "I'm not telling you anything. You're not even graduating for another year." Boruto crosses his arms. "I could graduate right now if you let me." "No, you couldn't. You're going to stay in school." Boruto sulks. "You always say how proud you are of me, and Aburame-sensei himself said that I'm a prodigy. If that's true, then how come you don't believe in me?" "It's not a matter of not believing in you." This time, his wife is the one to speak. Boruto is at the top of his class. Boruto shoots him a victorious grin. His team better not slow him down. Don't pair him with the dead last. Naruto huffs and fumes silently at the way she openly questions him in front of their son. "Boruto, you can't choose your teammates." "I'm not choosing, I'm just suggesting that. We're not talking about this anymore. End of discussion. Got it? Now eat your ramen." He makes the mistake of glancing up and notices the way Tucci and Ayame watch the scene carefully and rigidly. He considers calling out to them, wanting to joke and chat like he used to when he was just a little brat. But they haven't treated him the same since the day he came home from his tour with a wife in tow. One whose tummy hadn't even started to show yet, but she held it firmly and caressed it in a way that let everyone know who she was and that she was here to stay. It made a lot of people start looking at him differently, he realizes. A little girl's giggles force him out of his thoughts and he focuses on the wind chime laughter that reminds him of a girl who always hid her laughter behind her hands. He turns around slowly, mindful of who is beside him, and not wanting to attract attention to himself. The Hamasaki family strolls down the village path, each sporting grins and flushed cheeks. Himawari, clad in a pink fur-trimmed jacket, winter boots, and a yellow beanie swings through the air happily, her hands holding on tightly to the hands of her parents at either side of her. Hinata is a vision in the snow, with her warm form-fitting clothes, and a white-trimmed cap that partially obscures dark-cropped locks. When did she cut it? Her eyes close and she smiles openly at her daughter's overjoyed shrieks of laughter as she and her husband swing her once again, careful not to pull at the little girl's arms too harshly. Then they release her and Himawari skips happily in front of them, happy and excited to be out in the snow, but also mindful of her parents and she knows to stay close to them. Behind her, Hinata and her husband walk together a little bit closer, hands coming back to find each other. A red, thickly knit scarf is wrapped around his neck and even from the distance, Naruto can clearly see that someone special has made it for him. He thinks to look away before it is too late, but luck is not on his side. He witnesses Hinata's husband pull her close to peck her cheek, Hinata responding predictably by flushing red and glancing around to make sure nobody has seen that public display of intimacy. Their eyes meet. Horror shows in both their expressions at making eye contact with the other, but it is quickly dropped. Naruto lifts his hand in a greeting, trying to smile as brightly as he can but only managing to muster a crooked grin. Hinata nods in response and turns away slowly, leaning slightly away from her husband but keeping her hand in his grasp. They walk out of sight. Naruto releases a breath he didn't know he was holding and keeps his face turned away from his family until he can slap an appropriate expression on. 13 years ago, he would have pondered on his heavy heart for only a few seconds before deciding to forget about it. He knows now that his teenage self was so inexperienced with feelings and relationships that the slightest complication, the smallest change from normalcy made him believe he was only overthinking things. It was that way of thinking that kept him believing Sakura to be the girl he wanted. That made him believe Hinata was only his friend. He knows now that while he normally embraced change, his younger self had been so confused and startled by this slow change of heart that he had done the only thing he could think of: ignore it. 30-year-old Naruto is not so naive. He can identify and name everything he is feeling at this moment. Shame is the strongest one. There is one man in Naruto's life that he feels has the answer for everything. Regrettably, this is not something Naruto feels he should confide Iruka-sensei in. He trusts the man like no other, but he doesn't want his father figure to see him like this. Especially considering Iruka's role in Naruto's life. He had been the one Naruto had taken with him, along with Sai, to visit the hidden villages of the world. Iruka had warned him to be careful with women, to not fall for any sweet words. There are plenty of girls to swoon over you back home. No need to leave a trail of broken hearts wherever you go. It's not like you're ever going to see them again anyways, right? Iruka had said with a shrug. It was that way of thinking that had gotten Naruto into all this trouble. His belief that he would not have to face these girls ever again made it easy to agree to one date, to let a girl fawn all over him if only to see what it would feel like. He had no way of knowing how quickly one thing led to another. He would never forget the look in Iruka's eye when he explained to him why he had to marry the girl he had only dated twice, the very same girl that Iruka had warned him to stay away from. Uncharacteristically, Iruka had yelled at him. Not in the funny way that reminded him of their academy days, but the kind of yelling with choked throats and tears in his eyes. Iruka had forgiven him because, really, it was too late to do anything about it. But there was a trust that Naruto had lost when he had disregarded his teacher's advice. There was another man, though, that Naruto felt far more comfortable admitting his problems to. If only because this man had committed many of his own mistakes and would tell Naruto so. It was too bad he was dead. It didn't stop Naruto from going to see him anyways, a bottle of sake in his hands. The memorial he had built in the forest with his own 2 hands 14 years ago had stayed strong, as long as Naruto remembered to return and maintain it every so often. "Hey pervy sage," he announces as he steps into the clearing. "Look what I brought you." He holds up the bottle, a cheesy grin on his face. "Great, we were just starting to run out." Naruto nearly shrieks and drops the bottle before noticing it is only Granny Tsunade sitting in the corner with a drunken flush on her face. "Granny, what the hell? Oh, calm down brat. And give that bottle here. Don't just stand there," she demands with a huff. Rolling his eyes but not able to stop his fond smile, Naruto lowers himself beside her and hands over the bottle. "Anyways, don't mind me. Just came to get a few things off my chest." She refills her saucer and sips from it with a pleased hum. "Oi, Granny, you're gonna ruin your liver if you keep on drinking like that." She sighs in annoyance. "Naruto my boy, I've got 2 words for you." She holds up 3 fingers and counts them off as she speaks. "Cellular regeneration. Isn't that right, Jiraiya?" She laughs loudly at her own cleverness. "Anyways, do me a favor and be quiet, brat. She trailed off in a loud yawn. "I'm just gonna rest my eyes for a second." Tsunade slumps forward, already snoring, and Naruto sighs heavily at the sight, wondering how stressed out she must be feeling to be visiting Jiraiya this late at night and drunk enough to pass out. He'll take her home as soon as he finishes here. "Well, pervy sage, I know it's been a while since I've dropped by and I'm real sorry about that. But I've been pretty busy, you know, being the Hokage and all. I don't really have time for much. Not even for my own son." He sighs through his nose. "But, I have a problem now. I dunno how to fix it. If it even can be fixed. But, I figured, if anybody knows, it's gotta be you, right? So here's the deal. I'm married now. To this woman I met when I was touring the world after the war. We have a son together and everything. My life, it's everything I've always wanted. I'm the Hokage. I'm married. I have a son who looks just like me. We have our problems, but we love each other. I'd protect my family with my life. They're the most important people in the world to me. But, I can't help but feel like I'm missing something. Like my life wasn't supposed to be like this. Like everything is just wrong. I've been ignoring it for years now, but it's eating me alive. I'm a horrible person, aren't I?" He sighs. "Anyways, I had to stop. I can't keep doing this. I want to be happy, but I don't think I can be if I can't put this behind me. I just don't know how to do that." Naruto leans back on his arms and stares up at the heavens. "So, what should I do?" The silence is comfortable as Naruto waits. He's not stupid enough to think he'll get an actual answer, but telling Jiraiya all about his situation, something he has never acknowledged out loud, is hopefully the best way to make himself realize the answer. Love problems. Naruto's head snaps up to the sound of Tsunade's sleepy, drunken voice and he watches as she clumsily scoots herself up. "Granny, you okay?" "I'm fine. Just had to sleep a little of the booze off, I guess." "How much did you hear?" "Nothing I didn't already know." What? He blanches. Tsunade shrugs lazily. Can't say I'm surprised. You married a girl you knocked up by accident. Of course your marriage was going to be a little rocky. She sighs through her nose and looks up at Naruto, eyes hooded. Granny? Naruto hesitates but presses forward. You ever been in love? Ah, not with pervy Sage though, huh? He can't help the heavy feeling in his chest as he asks this. At this, Tsunade's brow furrows. Expressive brown eyes dart to the memorial and then lower. No, I was in love with another, back when I was much younger. Her fingers grip onto the sleeve of her cloak. I loved Jiraiya. I did. Of course, I cared for everybody and my duty to the village came before everything. But Jiraiya was the one person I could always depend on. Losing him was tough. Why do you ask? Well, because? You don't love your wife. Naruto's eyes widen and he's quick to defend himself. No, I do. Love her, I mean. I swear I do. I'd protect her with my life. Tsunade ponders this with a hum. What makes you think you love her? Naruto blinks, a little shocked at the callousness of her tone. She's my wife, he states simply, and the mother of my son. That doesn't answer my question. Why do you think you love her? He hesitates for a few seconds, thinking it over, wondering if it is really okay to say these kinds of things out loud. Then again, he is the Hokage and so is Granny Tsunade. There are lots of secrets only the two of them know. So, he decides to continue. Well, when I first met her, I thought her hair was real interesting. It's like, what's that color? Maroon, I think. Yeah, maroon. Not exactly red, but not purple either. She's funny, you know? When you get to know her. She likes to laugh a lot. She smiles a lot too. I thought she was pretty. Plus, she liked to hit me sometimes. Not hard or anything, but just a tap. Just to touch me, I guess. And I thought, a girl like her. That's the kind of girl I had to be with. At this, Tsunade turns to him. It didn't have to be her, I guess, but I wanted it to be. She fit the bill, you know? He scratches at the back of his head sheepishly. She reminds me of my mom, you know. His eyes lower a bit and his hands fist at his side. Before my parents died, my mom told me everything she wanted me to know before it was too late. She wanted me to do good in school, take care of my money, eat healthy, all that stuff. She was also worried about what kind of girl I'd end up with, and she told me to find one that was like her. Anyways, I guess that's why I chose her. Tsunade leans back on her elbows, staring up into the dark sky. Naruto waits patiently for her advice. She's smarter than him, he knows, and he believes that Tsunade might be able to understand what's going on with him. Finally, she turns to look at him, opens her mouth, and takes a chug straight from the bottle, tossing it aside with a satisfied hum. Finally, she says, that's stupid. What made you think you needed to be with somebody like your mother when you're already just like her? She turns to regard him, slightly shaking her head. That's why you and your wife don't work. Being friends is fine, dating is fine, but spending the rest of your life with a person that matches you in everything? It doesn't work out. Naruto is silent, taking in this new information. But, my mom, she said I should be with a woman like her. The Hokage suddenly feels like a complete idiotic mama's boy. He was too old to be talking like this. Tsunade barely notices. And what exactly is a woman like her? Well, you know, loud, and strong, and opinionated, and stuff. Girls with confidence, I guess. I dunno. He feels uncomfortable now, suddenly feeling extremely stupid for even bringing this up. And how many girls do you know that are like that? Well, my wife. And Sakura. His eyes lower to the ground before suddenly widening. Fuck, now you get it. Tsunade chuckles lowly before taking a sip straight from the bottle. That's what happens when you treat love like a game. Naruto doesn't respond, very aware of the way he had steadily lost interest in pursuing Sakura once he didn't need to fight for her attention anymore. But this was different. He hadn't ended up marrying Sakura. He had married a woman he barely had any interest in the first place. All this time, he had thought there was something wrong with him. He couldn't understand why he couldn't make himself love a woman who was supposed to be a good match for him. Now he knows. Damn it, he mumbles. And then it hits him. Damn it. Hey, calm down. Tsunade eyes him warily, already lowering the bottle, not liking the way his body is trembling. But he can't calm down. Because he had known. He thinks of words said long ago, in fact, the very last words he had said to his father. Words he had asked him to take to his mother. He had wanted to tell his mom how hard he was trying to make her proud and that he was doing most of the right things, doing the things she had wanted him to, but when he had reached that part, the part where she had asked him to choose a woman like her, he hesitated. Fumbled, wavered, but he had tried to do it anyways. He didn't want to let her down. And now he was. Naruto. Tsunade's strong hand clapped down on his shoulder, steadying him. Calm down. He takes a few seconds to compose himself, slowing his breath, reining in his emotions. Granny, I fucked up. She doesn't question him, knowing full well what he's referring to. It's not too late to change things. Yes it is. No, it's not. You can still be happy with her. I've already tried. You haven't. I could see it the second you brought her to the village. You keep her at arm's length. Naruto doesn't deny it, dull blue eyes narrowing. What should I do? Tsunade sighs heavily, her pity for him evident. Just be happy, Naruto. You have a wonderful family. You're the Hokage. You have everyone's respect. And hey, Tsunade lifts her arms in a carefree manner. Being in love isn't that important. There are plenty of people who've never married and never even cared for it. Naruto thinks of Kakashi-sensei, Iruka-sensei, Tenten, Shino. They do seem pretty content. They're not slowly dying from the inside like he is. So, I can just pretend? Well, just don't overthink it. Instead of thinking about everything you missed, why don't you focus on everything you've gained? A pretty wife, a talented son, a family. Yeah, you're right. It's just, I'm trying. I really am. But what? Well, I mean, I wasn't always like this. Before, I was fine. I was happy enough. I think, I could have gone the rest of my life like that. I could have stayed with her and I would have been happy just to have somebody. But that changed. The day she got married. I don't know how to explain it. All I know is, I didn't want to try anymore after that. It felt so wrong after that. Tsunade stares at him. Naruto, you have to move on already. His hands ball up. I can't. It's not that easy. If I could just forget about her, I would, but I can't. His hands relax when a thought crosses him. Maybe if she just never got married. If she never met him. If she never had a daughter. Maybe then, I could have forgotten about her. He laughs humorlessly. It's selfish, isn't it? Incredibly selfish. Tsunade admits easily. Naruto sighs and then hangs his head in his hands. I don't know what to do, Granny. His voice cracks from the weight of his shame. From the self-hatred. He can't forgive himself for this. Tsunade sighs through her nose and glances at her successor. Everyone has regrets, Naruto. We've all made mistakes. I would know, I've made plenty. Her eyes narrow slightly. But that's how life works. We make choices and we have to live with the consequences. There's no going around that. The only thing we can do is make peace with our decisions. You can't spend the rest of your life worrying over what ifs. It's a waste of time. Time that you, Nanadem-sama, do not have. Tsunade stares at him pointedly. Naruto, you're the Hokage now. You have a village to protect. You're not some lovesick teenager. You don't have the luxury of only thinking about yourself. Understand? Naruto's eyes do not soften but he nods resolutely anyways. I know. Tsunade nods. Good. I'm going home now. Thanks for the sake. She stands slowly, hand still holding on to the bottle he brought. Night, Granny. And thanks. Tsunade holds out a hand in response. I'll see you later. She only takes a few steps before halting. Without turning to look at him, she speaks again in a low tone. Naruto. Go home. Your wife must be waiting for you. Naruto nods and stares at the ground as he listens to the sound of Tsunade heading home. He glances up at Jiraiya's grave. Well, wish me luck, pervy sage. When he's here, he feels like he is at the top of world. When he's here, his problems do not come with him. He is alone up here and maybe that is why he feels so at peace. Naruto perches on the tallest peak of the Yondaime's sculpted likeness on the Hokage monument, watching the village below him. His own face is carved just to his right, but he feels uncomfortable just looking at it sometimes. He finds it odd, considering it had always been his dream to have his face up here, but the thought seems so trivial now. He doesn't come here often. Doesn't have the time to do that. But when Shikamaru is in a good mood, and the workload can wait until tomorrow, he'll leave 3 hours early and come here. When he's here, silent and pensive, he can understand why some people can live as hermits. There's a freedom in solitude, he knows, and remembers a time of his life when he had been alone, had always been alone, and had hated it. It's different now. He feels suffocated under the weight of the people that depend on him. But this was his choice, and it is still not a choice he regrets. He is the strongest, and with power comes responsibility. With that thought, he bends his legs, arms laying slack atop his thighs. Kurama's chakra engulfs him, sharpens his every sense, strengthens his every fiber. The power of the mighty fox's chakra does not overwhelm him, not anymore, and he easily reins it in to form his chakra cloak. Shadows dance around him as the glow of chakra surrounding him fluctuates until stabilizing. At last, he can breathe. Bright golden eyes open slowly, narrowed in concentration. Now, he can begin. A nightly sweep of the village has become routine, though he normally does it from his office. But it feels better here. He can feel better from here. In this mode, he can feel any type of negative energy and pinpoint its location. Combined with his chakra detecting, it's a safe, non-intrusive way of combing through the village for any malicious intent. With his several years of practice, he can do this in just a few minutes. Usually, the only negative thoughts and feelings he picks up on are from the villagers who just had a bad day. Not uncommon. Tonight, however, his brain halts so suddenly that he's on his feet before he even knows what he's doing. For just a split second, he hesitates, because he remembers that this is exactly the kind of thing Tsunade has warned him against, but his hesitation melts away. Hinata is in trouble. He can feel it. Her chakra, usually light and warm and so very familiar, is tinged with confusion, sorrow, and the littlest bit of anger, but it's enough to make him decide he'd better check out the situation. Especially when he realizes she is alone in the middle of the forest. She needs me, he thinks. He leaps off the spike of his father's hair, soaring the air, calculating the correct time to bend his knees, and he lands perfectly on a rooftop before taking to the air again. A prickling of his senses lets him know his Anbu are on the move, startled by his sudden action, and he signals a safe word to let them know this is not an emergency. He pauses and waits for them to fall back before continuing. He is getting closer, and he narrows in on Hinata's signature, only to realize that she is also on the move. Naruto grits his teeth and focuses directly onto her chakra, tuning out all others, and he can sense that he is being watched. No doubt, Hinata's Byakugan is activated and she had seen him coming. But then, did that mean she was running away from him? The thought startles him, saddens him, but also makes his brow furrow. Determined, he presses forward. He is not the Hokage for nothing, and in a split second, he has moved so fast that he appears directly in front of Hinata. Her sprint comes to a halt as she skids to a stop, arms braced at her sides. He drops his sage mode, lets the Kyuubi's chakra recede, and now he is only Naruto. For a long while, no one spoke. Only stared. Hinata's Byakugan deactivates and he sees her lips pressed tightly together. Nervousness, he knows. Her eyes lower and she drops her defensive position, slightly turning to the side. Naruto himself also relaxes, takes a breath he was not aware he was holding, and then looks her over. Hinata is in navy training gear, with shin-high shinobi boots, and a shinobi pouch clipped to her back pocket. The sight of this confuses him. Hinata is retired and has been for several years, since the day she discovered she was pregnant. The memory of receiving her letter of resignation and staring at it, rereading the same medical check-off in Sakura's handwriting, comes to him and he quickly pushes it away. He looks at her head-on now, waiting for her to speak, before realizing she is not. There is nothing but silence. Dead silence. And a lot of awkward staring. It reminds him of a day that passed more than 18 years ago. He remembers hurrying to the final round of the Chunin exams, passing through the forest, and running into Hinata. It was the first time he had a conversation, a real conversation, with her. And, like now, it had been very weird and awkward. But also nice. Nicer than he had felt in a long time. He comes back to the present and sees the way she stares cautiously at him. A question in her eyes, but not willing to ask it. Naruto is suddenly very aware of the fact that they have not been alone together for more than 13 years. He clears his throat. I didn't scare you, did I? He attempts to sound as carefree and non-threatening as possible, but for the life of him he cannot get rid of that ball in his throat that cracks his words and deepens his tone more than he means to. Hinata's lips part, and then close. Her eyes dart to his and then glance around themselves. No, I was just heading home. He nods. What are you doing here? It's late. You probably shouldn't be in the forest by yourself. Hinata nods once in agreement. I know. He waits for the rest of her explanation, and when it doesn't come, he decides to keep pressing. Your Byakugan was on. Did something happen? Something I should know about? As soon as the words come out, his brain screams at him. Idiot. Stop prying. Hinata shakes her head. No, Hokage-sama. Nothing to worry about. Naruto winces slightly at the title. Ah, that's a little too formal. I mean, we're friends, right? You can call me by my name. You always have. Hinata grins slightly. She agrees with a nod and says in a low tone, okay, Naruto-kun. He grins in return. A small part of him thinks he is much too old for an honorific like that, but he beams anyways. He can't help it. Hinata. He replies back. He watches the way her cheeks tint slightly and then remembers his reason for tracking her down in the first place. Anyways, what are you doing here, Hinata? She tugs at the sleeve of her shirt. I was training. Just for a little bit. His brow furrows. Aren't you retired? Yes, I am, but I don't think I could ever stop training actually. It's a habit. Oh, so, you've been doing this for a while? She nods. Yes, not usually here, but, I suppose, I just felt like being alone. Her eyes drop to the ground as she says that, arms coming up and wrapping around her chest. Oh, makes sense, I guess. He scratches at his head and when Hinata doesn't respond, he continues. So, you're retired now. That's nice. What do you do now? Not much. I help with the shop most of time. When I'm not doing that, I'm with Himawari. Right. So, he doesn't know if it's the right thing to do, but he decides to ask anyways. I guess you saw me coming, huh? Hinata hesitates, looks down at the ground, her bangs covering her eyes. Why yes. He nods at this, looks down at his feet. Slowly, he glances back at her and waits for her to meet his eyes. Why did you run? Her eyes widen and he can almost hear her heartbeat pick up. Hinata's hands clench and she takes a few steps back, away from him. I had to get home. She tries to go around him, and Naruto finds himself moving to block her way. Her widened, startled eyes ask the same question that he has been trying to figure out for years. What are you doing? He doesn't know. But he realizes he will probably never have this opportunity again and he doesn't intend to let this go. Can we talk? He asks in a low tone, almost a mumble, and he stares cautiously at her. It won't take long, just a couple of minutes. Hinata's hands come together to fist on the front of her shirt, reminiscent of her childhood tendencies, that familiar quirk of never being able to stand still. It's very late, Naruto-kun. If you wanted to go back to your office, we can talk tomorrow. Now's fine. Her argument dies on the tip of her tongue. Instead, she slowly nods. Slightly amazed that she has agreed, Naruto lowers himself to the ground and looks up at her expectantly. Hinata lowers to her knees, ankles bent behind her. It's quiet again, and though it's not wholly uncomfortable, Naruto doesn't think he can stand to let this go on any longer. It's been a while, he begins, looking down at his hands, examining the wrappings on his right arm. Since we talked, I mean. At least, just the two of us. He thinks of mutual friends. Children, spouses, conversations that didn't last beyond a few minutes. Greetings, goodbyes. 13 years, he thinks, is a long time to let things go unsaid. She nods. I'm sorry that I came at you out of nowhere. I didn't mean to scare you or anything. It's okay. I know what you were doing. You do? She nods. When I train, I use my Byakugan. I can see, practically the whole village at once. So, I've seen you using Kurama-sama's chakra and sweeping the village for it. Naruto nods. He lets himself ponder on the fact that Hinata has been watching him, maybe unintentionally, maybe not, and he files it away to think about later. Are you okay? Hinata smiles and it startles him to see how grim it is. I just had a bad day. Nothing to worry about. I didn't mean to alarm you. Do you, maybe want to talk about it? He is not surprised to see her shake her head. Though he is aware that there is no reason he should expect her to open up to him, the fact that she doesn't still hurts a bit. Hinata, we're still friends, right? She nods immediately. Oh, of course we are. He relaxes a little, somewhat relieved. He never dwelled heavily on it, but a small part of him had always feared that she hated him. He's smart enough to know that maybe she doesn't like him as much as she used to, but at least she doesn't hate him. Then again, he thinks, Hinata's not capable of hating anybody. That's good, 'cause, you know, I kinda thought that. He hesitates, then changes the topic. Anyways, we should talk. Naruto looks at her in a way he hopes she can understand. And, because she is Hinata, she does. She nods in agreement, and he can sense the heaviness in her decision. This will not be a light discussion. This will be a conversation years in the making. And they are not unaware that maybe, for that very reason, this is not something they should talk about. Naruto watches her for a few seconds, slightly marveled that Hinata, who he knows doesn't like conflict and goes out of her way to avoid it, has agreed to this. Maybe, he thinks, Hinata needs this too. The possibility that Hinata might feel the same way he does, might know the thoughts that have plagued him for years, encourages him to keep going. So, you didn't come to my wedding. Naruto's words die in his throat and it takes a few seconds to snap himself out of it. But he can't shake off the shock that Hinata is the one who brought this up, and he stares at her with widened eyes. For once, she stares back without any hesitation. Her dark hair, cropped to her narrow shoulders, sways slightly in a breeze, lavender eyes set in a hard stare, and if this isn't the image of a vindicated woman, he doesn't know what is. For once, he doesn't know what to say, except maybe the one thing he knows she doesn't want to hear right now. Hinata finally drops her stare. Her hands fold on her thighs, and she clears her throat lightly. Waiting, he tells her the truth because, though he has lied to himself often, he would never lie to her. I didn't think it would be a good idea if I went. Hinata's head lowers at this. Ah, so, you know, then. It's odd, he thinks, how calmly she has said this. This that has haunted him ever since he realized it. Slowly, he nods, mutters a low, yeah, I thought so. Hinata replies softly, that's why you avoided me, isn't it? Naruto is hit with a strong desire to refute it, to deny that he has ever gone out of his way to evade Hinata. But that's his shame talking, and he knows it. So he nods again, not trusting himself to speak. You didn't have to. Hinata continues. Naruto shakes his head. I know, but I didn't think it'd be fair to you. He hangs his head a little. I didn't want to hurt you anymore. Hinata draws back a little, settling on her backside, and drawing her knees up to lean on them. I waited for you. I thought, maybe, you were just running late. Sakura-chan asked me to give it an hour. But then your letter came and I knew. She pauses and Naruto is glad because he really doesn't want to hear any more of his crimes. How did you find out? There is nothing but curiosity in her tone. Naruto hesitates, not wanting to recall that night of screaming and breaking glass and revelations that came too late. And it hadn't really been him that figured it out. Before he can respond, Hinata cuts in. Did your wife tell you? Hearing Hinata say that makes his jaw clench and he turns to her. How'd you know? She hesitates slightly too, but presses on anyways. I just had a feeling. After we talked, you met her? Naruto is dumbfounded by this. He couldn't even fathom the thought of Hinata and his wife being in the same room together, let alone speaking. And he thought he had done a pretty good job of keeping them separate. Hinata nods. I went to your house to give you the invitation. You weren't there, but she was. Naruto is silent at this simple explanation, wanting to hit himself for his stupidity. She invited me to come inside and have tea. At his look of complete bewilderment, she laughs a little bit. I thought it was weird too, especially after everything the girls told me. The girls, Naruto thinks, being Sakura, Ino, and Tenten. All women who hated his wife. And probably had every reason to. She was very nice to me. Mostly, she asked me questions. About what? He asks almost fearfully. Her lips pucker slightly, her distaste evident. What happened with pain? Hinata gripped her arms tighter, fingers clenching into her skin. And the war. Neji Nissan. His nostrils flare reactively, and he grits his teeth. I'm sorry. She had no right. It's okay. She says softly and he forces himself to relax. She was just curious. She said she had heard some things and wanted to see if they were true. That was all. But I had a feeling there was more to it. There is silence again, a contemplative, heavy silence. Naruto looks sideways at her, studies the bridge of her nose, the flare of her bottom lip. The way she purposefully avoids his gaze. He thinks of her words. From the Chunin exams to Pain's invasion to the Great War. Their light conversation in between. He wonders how he could have missed that she loved him. How he had fooled himself into believing the depth of her feelings for him did not go past the love she felt for everybody. Hinata was so nice and caring, it was easy to convince himself he wasn't that special in her eyes. But that also feels like a lie. Maybe he had known. Maybe he had just been afraid. Hinata, I didn't mean to avoid you. I wasn't ignoring you or anything. I know it must sound dumb, but I just didn't get it. It didn't click for me the way it clicked for. He almost makes the mistake of uttering his wife's name. I was too stupid. I'm still too stupid. You're not stupid, Naruto-kun. Hinata says softly, tugging at her sleeves. A little part of him hurts when she says that, because he knows she means it. It reminds him of when they were younger, and how secure he had always felt with her. How easy it was to let down his guard with her. Show her the vulnerabilities he'd never had the courage to let anyone else see. It's a trust he doesn't have with anyone else. Maybe that was why it had hurt so much to learn she had always been insecure with him. Had kept a secret from him because she didn't trust him enough not to break her heart. It's not your fault, she states strongly, clearly noticing his torment. It's me. It's always been me. It was never about you. She studies her hands, her fidgeting fingers. In the end, I waited too long. I kept holding myself back. Her head lowered. I was a coward. He can't help feeling outraged just hearing her say that. You're not a coward. You're the bravest person I know. She shakes her head, completely unaffected by his burst of emotion, and he is almost amazed by how easily she can disregard herself. He wishes she could understand how fascinating he has always found her. The silent strength, her unbreakable resolve. The way she always shouldered her pain with a smile. You know, I had promised to myself that I was going to talk to you. I was afraid, but I convinced myself rejection was better than never knowing. I was so nervous. She smiled a little, clearly embarrassed. I counted down the days until you would return from your tour. His heart stops. And when you came home? Hinata's eyes lower. She sits in silence as his throat tightens. It hurts. It hurts to breathe. Naruto thinks of the crowd he greeted when he returned home from the tour. Of the people he passed by as he headed inside the village. The thought of Hinata standing there, waiting for him, only to see him with another woman, a pregnant woman. He wants to die. Die so that he would never again have to see that sad, sweet smile on her lovely face that crushed him into a million pieces. A lot of silence passes again, strained and tense, as they stare ahead of them. There is nothing but the sound of chirping crickets and leaves crinkling in the breeze. He waits for his breathing to return to normal. I'm sorry. She turns to look at him, pearly eyes widening slightly. There's nothing to apologize for. He shakes his head. Yes, there is. I was so stupid. He pauses for a second, recalling everything that has led to this moment. I never wanted to hurt you. He turns to her again and stares at her, silently willing her to understand. At her doubtful expression, something in him snaps. Hinata, you have to believe me. Out of everybody, you're the last person I'd ever. His voice cracks and breaks when she turns away. Hinata refuses to look at him. So unlike her, that the raw emotion in such a simple act destroys him. His resolve dies, along with his word. What more is there to say? No amount of apologies in the world can make up for betraying someone like her. Hinata sighs heavily through her nose. Her eyes are fixed in the distance. I don't want you to feel sorry for me. No, that's not, I don't. He hesitates. Is it? Is this why it hurts to look at her? Why he avoided her? At his silence, Hinata turns to glance at him. He can feel her eyes trail over him. Examine him. Analyze him. I'm happy, she tells him. The corner of her lips pull up in a half smile. Don't worry about me, okay? His stubbornness makes him want to refuse. He wants to be selfish and tell her he'll always worry for her. But he can't do that. Especially not now when she looks like she is trying so hard to convince him and herself. The guilt in him wells up so strongly that it settles in his stomach like an anchor. He feels like a curse. It's ironic, he thinks, how fiercely he had always protected her when they were younger, had vowed to fight for her and her honor. You were supposed to be the hero. Slowly, he nods. Okay. It sounds like a whisper, but she hears him easily. Smiles, though it doesn't reach her eyes. Hinata rises to her feet, and Naruto is quick to jump up beside her. You're leaving? He can't help his shock. She nods. I should have been home 30 minutes ago. They might worry. Arms stiff at her side, Hinata bows politely. Good night, Naruto-kun. She turns to leave. Wait, he blurts before she can take another step, and Hinata pauses, glancing behind her. Can I at least walk you home? Her hand curls to her chest, as if she has been asked the meaning of life. Even Naruto can see the hesitation, the doubt plaguing her. But Hinata is nothing if not polite and well-mannered, and he is not surprised when she nods. Slowly, she turns and continues, waiting for Naruto to fall into step beside her. Out of respect, he chooses to keep a pace behind her. "It's not far," she says from in front of him, and he nods though she can't see him. The walk back into the village is silent, and Naruto doesn't complain. There is a lot to think about, after all. He chooses to focus on her instead. He watches the swish of her hair bouncing from her shoulders, the bobbing of the pouch strapped to her backside, the strain of her knuckles fisted into the sleeves of her shirt. He listens to the sound of dirt crunching underneath their shoes, the light tap of Hinata's feet, followed by the louder thud of his. For once, it doesn't feel so wrong. For once, as short-lived as it may be, Naruto and Hinata are on the same path. Just this once, they're side by side again. Suddenly, she stops and Naruto pauses behind her. She turns slowly and gives him a small grin. "This is me." Naruto looks up at the building she has stopped in front of. His brow furrows. An apartment complex. Seeing his stare, Hinata continues. "It's the one with the green curtains." He stares up to the third floor, and catches the sight of olive-colored silky curtains. A lit candle is at the windowsill, just barely illuminating the room inside. He can see the outline of a lamp. An apartment, he thinks bitterly. She lives in an apartment. It's unacceptable. Hinata is a Hyuga. She was born in the lap of luxury, and has been reduced to this. Naruto wonders why she would accept a man who clearly can't maintain the lifestyle she is used to. And that's another thought. He doesn't like that Hinata still sees the need to keep up her training. She's not a kunoichi anymore. He remembers very specifically when they were 17 years old and she had confided to him that she had planned to retire soon. He had understood, no questions asked, and had even reassured her that he'd be her Hokage and would protect her from anything. It's clear to him that Hinata is the protector in her family, the stronger one in her marriage. Her husband can't keep her safe, or secure, or happy. He is a failure. Naruto's darkened eyes narrow. It's bigger than it looks. She continues quietly. And it's enough. Plus, there is a market just down the street, and it's next to the shop. She gestures toward a store across the street. The lights off, a closed sign hanging off the doorknob. An apothecary. Naruto hadn't even known what that was until he found out what Hinata's husband did for a living. Without thinking, he responds, "The Hyuga compound is on the other side of the village." Hinata's eyes lower, and he's quick to apologize. "I didn't mean anything by it. I was just, thinking out loud." "It's okay." There is more silence until Hinata clears her throat. Reluctantly, Naruto acknowledges that it is time to say goodbye. "Hinata?" He waits until she is looking at him. "Thanks for talking with me. I needed it." She nods. "Do you feel better?" He nods once. "That's good. Yeah, maybe it doesn't have to be so awkward anymore. I could say hi, right? And it wouldn't be weird? I wouldn't make you uncomfortable?" Hinata smiles, and it's the most genuine one she has given him in a long time. "I would like that." A small sigh of relief escapes him, and he grins good-naturedly. "Good." His eyes screw shut and he smiles so widely, it hurts his jaw a little, but he presses on. "I'll say hi tomorrow. And the day after that. Count on it." He opens his eyes and allows himself to gaze down at her for a few seconds, study the way her eyes have also closed in a warm grin, and he can see that her hands have relaxed. She doesn't look so pained now, and he decides he will never make her feel that way again. She had said herself that avoiding her had been unnecessary. She was happy and that wouldn't change if he decided to come back into her life. They say a quick goodbye, and though Naruto has never liked that word, it's different now. The farewell comes with a promise that he can give her and that won't betray him or her. And as they part, he can feel it in the air as he takes to the rooftops and heads home. "I'll see you soon." He finds her in the marketplace like he does every Thursday. Her back is to him, perusing through a stack of turnips, and he takes this rare moment of her obliviousness to watch her. A vendor approaches her, greeting her warmly, and she smiles in return. The easiness of her comfort intrigues him, beckons him, and he approaches steadily. Exclamations of "Hokage-sama" and "Nanadem" cause him to pause, and he looks back up just as Hinata turns around. Their eyes meet, a silent greeting in both their expressions. Her small smile and the tint of her cheeks. His widening grin and the lowering of his lids. She pays for her groceries and starts to head out, mingling into the crowd of villagers, and he's quick to make another few shadow clones. One goes to an elderly lady hobbling around her cane, another to a cluster of merchants who were expecting him, and the other to Hinata. Naruto jogs to her side, cape flying behind him in the wind. Hinata isn't surprised to see him, again, and she nods and smiles. Ah, Nanadem-sama. She doesn't call him Naruto-kun in public. I've been running into you a lot. Yeah, I've always got a bunch of clones out making rounds. So, you were bound to start see me everywhere eventually. He laughs a little too forcefully and immediately falls into step besides her, like he always does. It hadn't been long after their meeting that Naruto realized how easy it was to run into Hinata, or rather, how easy he could make it. Anyways, it wasn't like he was being irresponsible or anything. They were just clones. He had thousands of them at his disposal, and the real him was safe and sound in his office. Anyways, it's not like Hinata noticed. She always looked just as surprised to see him as he was to see her. Need a hand with that? He offers nonchalantly and is not surprised when Hinata tries to refuse him. Hinata, I'm the Hokage, nay? I can carry groceries. Promise I won't break your eggs. She laughs softly at that and hands them over. Okay, but if you pop, you owe me new groceries. Hinata's attempt at banter always leaves him slightly breathless, excited to see a side of her that is willing to joke with him. The two slide into easy conversation. Nothing major. There is no heavy talk, like there had been at their reunion. It was simple conversation. She'd ask about his day, and he'd tell her how boring it was to be the Hokage. He, in turn, asks her how Himawari is doing and listens with a smile as she recounts how Himawari is doing at school, how she is still learning how to mold chakra, and that her Byakugan will probably awaken soon. He isn't surprised to learn that Hinata always has something to say. Even to things he would expect her to shy away from. Boruto-kun acts up because he is too much like his father. She said with a grin. He doesn't mean it when he says he doesn't care about you or the village. He just wants to know that he is important in your life, more important than being Hokage. Of course he's more important. He couldn't help snapping. This felt like an argument he has had with himself 100 times over. Hinata didn't flinch. She focused a sharp look at him, eyes narrowed. Have you ever told him that? He was momentarily stunned at her expression, the motherly instinct that almost made him cower. I shouldn't have to. He's my son. Sometimes, even when it's obvious, people like to be told that they are loved. Especially when they're insecure. I should know. She laughed a little at that, and her eyes lowered to the ground, looking like she was reminiscing. Anyways, you should spend some time with him. I bet he'd love to train with you all day if he could. You think so? Sometimes, Naruto was convinced that his son hated him, that nothing he could do would win back his affection. I know so. Naruto should have been surprised that Hinata knew his son so well, but he wasn't really. Her intuition was tuned to perfection, and he knew that Hinata's judgment, even if only based on instinct and first impression alone, was sound. He supposed that was why she had always been kind to him. Even when he was an annoying brat with zero to little social skills, Hinata treated him like she treated him now as the Hokage. It's what made him believe their closeness was inevitable, and though he didn't weigh much on things like fate and destiny, Naruto decided it was out of his hands. So what's for dinner tonight? Naruto peeks through her bags, not surprised to see nothing but healthy foods. Salmon, I think. I haven't decided if I'm going to make kimchi though. How come? You don't even like fish? Hinata tugs at the sleeves of her white long sleeve. I did tell you that, huh? She clears her throat. Well, my husband likes seafood so. Oh, there is silence for a few awkward moments. He wishes he never asked. Kiba-kun. Hinata gasps in excitement and Naruto stiffens beside her. Sure enough, the bearded best friend of Hinata comes strolling towards them, an eyebrow lifted. Hey Hinata. He turns to the Hokage. Nanadem. Kiba. He acknowledges. Where's Arf? Akamaru trots to Hinata's side, nuzzling her thigh. Hello Akamaru. She scratches at his ear and looks back up at Kiba. How are you, Kiba-kun? Not too shabby. Hey, I'm heading your way so I'll walk ya. Kiba steps towards Naruto and reaches for the bags. I'll take him. Instinctively, Naruto draws the groceries closer, eyes narrowing. Kiba's brow furrows and Naruto quickly snaps out of it. Here. He slides the bags into Kiba's waiting arms and backs off, not daring to check Hinata's reaction. The indigo-haired woman steps towards Kiba and then turns around. "Thank you for helping me with my groceries, Hokage-sama. It was a pleasure seeing you." He holds up a hand, waving away her gratitude. "Yeah, anytime, Hinata. I'll, see you around." He returns her smile and lets it drop as soon as she turns around. Kiba and Hinata walk off together, Akamaru at their side, as Naruto watches. Kiba glances at him from over his shoulder, and their eyes meet in a weird, uncomfortable way that Naruto has never felt before. Just as quickly, Kiba looks away and his attention is refocused on Hinata. Naruto watches them for a few seconds more before dispelling. At the Hokage Tower, Naruto's head lifts from his busywork. Naruto is not surprised when it begins to catch up to him. "People talk, Naruto. What you and Hinata are doing, it's not right." Sakura stares at him pleadingly, hands folded in her lap. The Hokage doesn't spare a glance at her as he types away at his computer, eyes trained on the screen. "I don't know what you're talking about. Don't act dumb, especially not with me." At this, he sighs and lowers his hands from the keyboard. He wants to look exasperated, but is finding it slightly harder not to show his panic. "Sakura, it's not your business." "Excuse me? Look, whatever you think is going on, you've got the wrong idea." "Oh really? Care to elaborate? What exactly am I thinking?" He fumes silently. "So I talk to her sometimes. What's the big? Talking? Me and you are talking. What you're doing is not just talking." Sakura cuts in. Naruto opens his mouth to retort that, but she quickly cuts in again. "We've seen you, Naruto, so don't deny it. Carrying her groceries for her. Walking her home. Looking for her. Those were my shadow clones." He clarifies, like it means anything. "It doesn't cut into my work." "That's not the point." "Then what is your point?" "My clones run around the village carrying old grannies around all the time. No one's coming here yelling at me for that." "I'm not yelling." Sakura's fists almost slam down onto his desk before they catch themselves. Taking a deep breath, she closes her eyes. "I'm worried, okay? Hinata's my friend and I don't want. She's my friend too." His voice takes a defensive tone, straightening in his seat to stare at her head on. "Look, Sakura, you don't get it, okay? I'm not." "Don't get what? That you feel guilty for ignoring her for more than 10 years? She doesn't flinch when his eyes harden. "That you're trying to make up for lost time? That you want to be there for her now the way you never were before?" Green eyes stare challengingly into blue ones. "I get it. Believe me, I get it. But you're going about it all wrong." "How?" "Because it's not just you, Naruto. This isn't just about you and your feelings. This is about Hinata too. Your wife, her husband, Boruto, Himawari. This isn't just about you. And the village." She shakes her head. "There are already so many rumors about you and your wife. You're just dragging Hinata into the mix." Sakura waits for him to say something, but his jaw is clenched and he doesn't meet her eyes. "Just leave her alone." "No, Naruto. I won't do it. I'm not gonna hurt her again. Don't you see? I can't hurt her again. I won't do it." Sakura's eyes widen and she stares at him, this man who has changed so much from the thoughtless boy she used to know. "Naruto, you've got to get over it. What happened, that was years ago." He rolls his eyes, dismissing her as he gets back to his work. Angered, Sakura raises her voice. "You're blowing things out of proportion. You keep insisting that there's some deep history between you two when there isn't. You don't have to beg for forgiveness for not returning her feelings. Hinata's over it. She's married. You're married. I'm married. We're all married and happy, so stop ruining it." Naruto doesn't reply, soundly ignoring her as he types at his computer. This isn't some tragic romance. This is real life. And in real life, first loves aren't always forever. Easy for you to say. He mutters. "You got Sasuke in the end, didn't you? Don't make it sound like I trapped him. I'm not saying you did. But don't say you understand what I'm going through because you have no idea." He freezes just as Sakura's glare becomes glacier. "I knew it. I knew you were. Go home, Sakura." "You're kicking me out?" "No, I'm asking you to leave. Shikamaru's here." The Hokage stands from his desk just as there's a knock on the door. Sakura stares at him heavily. "I warned you. Don't say I didn't warn you." She picks up her folders and storms out of his office, just as Shikamaru steps in. What's her problem? The advisor glances at her over his shoulder. "No idea. Got something for me? Ah, one more meeting and you can go." Naruto's eyes narrow, glancing at his planner on his desk. I didn't see anything about another meeting. This one came in just a few moments ago. Shikamaru replies casually, flipping through a folder. Shouldn't take too long. Naruto sighs, running a bandaged hand through his short blonde hair. Whatever this is, it better be important. Can't believe you let someone in without an appointment. Yeah, well. Shikamaru shrugs and turns back to the door to retrieve the guest. Naruto lowers back onto his chair, hands clasped together on his lap as he waits. Through the windows behind him, the skylight darkens. His office dims. The door slowly opens, a lean figure stepping through and closing the door softly behind him. I apologize for the intrusion, Hokage-sama. Thank you for seeing me. The man bows lowly. Naruto stares. He'd know this man, this wisp of a man, anywhere. Hamasaki-san? There is silence. Heavy, blistering silence. Naruto stares ahead, darkened cobalt eyes piercing straight through the man in front of him, whose own brown eyes flicker around the room self-consciously. Naruto almost smiles. Pitiful. He turns back to his computer and pulls up the spreadsheets he was reviewing. Soon, the room is filled with the sounds of keyboard clacking. Well? He drawls without a trace of interest. Hamasaki clears his throat. I'll take a seat then. He approaches the chair. Don't bother. This won't take long. Naruto replies distractedly, eyes trained at the screen. Hamasaki pauses and draws his arm back to his side. Right. His hands clench loosely before dropping and folding into the sleeves of his dark sweater. Hamasaki pauses and Naruto can sense his stare. The Hokage can feel the shift in the air, the thickening of the tension. There is building animosity behind Hamasaki's stares. The man is bitter, angry even. The typing stops. Naruto stays calm and collected. You were let in without an appointment. I assume this is an emergency. It's urgent, I suppose. The man shifts on his feet, leaning his weight on one leg, before immediately straightening and planting both feet firmly. Naruto looks away from his computer and openly sizes him up. A slab of mud, Naruto thinks. A slab of mud on cement, on a rainy day. That's what Hamasaki is. Him and his dull, unintelligent brown eyes. His close-cropped brown hair, and the stupid little braid that hangs near his temple. His bland skin stretched over a lean, unimposing body. His plain sweater. His dark slacks. Black sandals. He looks miserable. And completely out of his comfort zone. It's to be expected. After all, Naruto reasons, what is a slab of mud compared to the sun and moon? Hamasaki steps forward. I had a concern, Hokage-sama. Regarding? Hamasaki hesitates. His dark eyes narrow slightly at the ground, brow furrowing. It's not exactly. A loud sigh. Naruto leans back in his chair. Just spit it out. Leave. Get out of my sight. Hamasaki swallows. My wife. Naruto stills momentarily, careful not to react. Did something happen to Hinata? At her name, Hamasaki's eyes finally meet Naruto's, but he doesn't respond. His mouth is pressed tightly together, brow furrowing slightly. He is unsure, hesitant, afraid even, but there is a glint in his eyes that Naruto can see push him forward, to say the words he clearly is having a hard time expressing. When he speaks, he is firm. I am here to ask you to please keep away from my wife. Naruto is silent, eyes trained forward, boring into the man in front of him. Hamasaki attempts to stand tall under the Hokage's scrutiny. I do not mean to offend or accuse you of anything. He adds as an afterthought. Naruto stares, somewhat amused. He can see the humor in this. Hinata's husband beseeching him to stay away from her, just minutes after Sakura had warned him of this exact dilemma. But a much larger part of him doesn't find this funny at all. An unmistakable flicker of fury flares in his gut, heated at the prospect in front of him. Who the hell does he think he is? Naruto doesn't give a shit if the guy is Hinata's husband. He couldn't care less. Slowly, he braces his hands on his desk and leans forward. Your insecurities are hardly worth my attention. He turns back to his computer. You're dismissed. Hamasaki's eyes widen, arms dropping to his side lifelessly. Naruto can see the shock in his expression, the distress in his grimace. The fear in his eyes. Then his brow furrows. I am not leaving, he says lowly but defiantly. Naruto's scowl becomes lethal. I wasn't asking. Hamasaki swallows thickly. He is trembling under the glare of the strongest shinobi in the world. I can't leave, he says softly. Hinata? Hamasaki's eyes close briefly. Hinata is my wife. I need to protect her. And, if that means I must face you, then I'll do it. Naruto's eyes remain fixed, cold, and distant. Protect her from what? He asks lowly. Me? Naruto's mocking undertone leaves its mark. Hamasaki's eyes narrow and then drop to the floor heatedly. Naruto isn't bothered by Hamasaki's obvious distaste of him. It's not like he didn't see it coming. Any man would be hateful if his wife was in love with another. Many of the villagers, Hamasaki begins, eyes downcast, have been coming to me, warning me that the Hokage is pursuing my wife. He waits for a response that Naruto will not give. It needs to stop. Naruto leans back in his chair, keeping his cool, refusing to believe he has done anything to warrant these accusations. People gossip. I can't do anything about that. This doesn't deter Hamasaki. So it's true then. Naruto rolls his eyes, wondering why he hasn't thrown the man out yet, but reminds himself Hamasaki is only a civilian. In any case, he must defend her honor. Hinata is a comrade of mine and a close childhood friend. I keep in touch with all of them. That includes her. Hamasaki withdraws slightly at the response. I understand that, Hokage-sama. The Rookie 9 are legendary even amongst villagers. She has many friends. I know that. Do you? Because whether you like it or not, Hinata is not a simple civilian. She is shinobi just as I am. She is one of us. He pauses, his mind taking him back to a fateful day. Ties that bind us. We'll always be connected. Marrying you doesn't change that. I never said that it did. Hamasaki argues feebly. Naruto scoffs. Your jealousy says otherwise. He can't help the challenge in his voice. You can't decide who her friends are or who she spends her time with. Hinata is not your puppet. You don't own her. He waits for the uproar, the denial, the possessiveness to show itself so he can pounce on it. Instead, Hamasaki says nothing. His eyes are soft and fixed to the window behind him. There is contemplation in his brow. Finally, he answers, Hinata has ties to her past. I understand that. Her friends, her family, her stories, I can never hope to compare. I know that. Hamasaki's eyes lower. Naruto's fire lowers to a simmer, his pity smothering the rage he felt towards this man. It has always been difficult for him to witness another's anguish. Even now, even after Hamasaki's infuriating demand, Naruto can't help but sympathize with him. He knows how it feels, the helplessness, the suffering. And maybe, if it had been anybody else, he might have yielded. In any case, Naruto thinks to himself, this was bound to happen. There is a reason that shinobi and civilian life is kept separate. They are two hemispheres that couldn't even begin to understand each other. A man like him was never meant to have a woman like her. The squeak of a chair rattles Naruto from his thoughts and he realizes that Hamasaki has taken a seat in front of him. His brown eyes are fixed on his. I am a lesser man than you. Any fool could tell you that. And I know that if you wanted it, you could take Hinata from me and there would be nothing anybody could do about it. Hamasaki's eyes lower at the confession, just as Naruto's narrow. I know that my word is worthless against yours. I understand that I have no right to come to you. I can't make you stay away from her. It is useless just to ask you to. Hamasaki pauses, his mouth pressing tightly together. But I am going to do so anyways. Because I love her. Naruto doesn't flinch. That has nothing to do with this. Hamasaki presses on, ignoring the deepening of Naruto's scowl. I love Hinata and I make her happy. Even as I am, a man with nothing to his name but a promise to always treasure her for who she is, she accepted me. She married me, even when everyone disapproved, when her family would threaten me to stay away from her, when her friends would take one look at me and scoff. Just as you do even now, even after all the years we've been together. But I fought for her. I've never fought for anything the way I had to fight for Hinata. He almost snorts. That's because you don't belong with her. Naruto says it easily. Even if she agreed to marry you, you were never her first choice. You know that, don't you? Hamasaki's eyes darkened as he stared. I know who you are, Hokage-sama. And I know what you mean to Hinata. What she means to you. But Hinata has moved on. Hamasaki says firmly. She chose me. She loves me. There is a heavy silence after that. Naruto settles back into his chair, arms crossing over his chest. If you really believed that, you wouldn't be here. He watches as Hamasaki turns crestfallen. And there it is, Naruto realizes. The root of all his problems. It isn't Hamasaki's possessiveness that made him come here. It was his doubt. Naruto closes his eyes, sighing through his nose. He was making it too easy. Hamasaki fidgets slightly before recomposing himself. It's not like that. I trust my wife. Doesn't seem that way. He responds without a trace of interest. Hamasaki's fist clenches. I know Hinata. I know her better than anyone. There is a challenge in his voice and Naruto's eyes crack open at the declaration. I know how she feels about me. And how she feels about you. That's why I'm asking you to leave her alone. Not for my sake, but for hers. She doesn't want you in her life anymore, but you keep persisting. She's too polite to ask you to stop. Naruto shakes his head slowly, not believing it for a second. He doesn't hesitate to tell it straight. You don't know anything about Hinata. His eyes harden. Hinata has a whole life apart from you. You think you know her better than her teammates? Her dad, her sister, you don't know anything about where she came from. Even me, I know her better than you ever will. Hinata and I have been through hell together, things you wouldn't know anything about. Because I was there and you weren't. And you think just because you convinced her to give you a chance that it means anything. It doesn't. She's not just some average woman. She's not just Himawari's mother either. She's not your damn trophy wife, that's for sure. And if she wants to talk to me, then she can. There's nothing you can do about that. He finishes with a heavy breath, ticked off that he lost his composure. He knows he shouldn't be speaking to one of his citizens like this, but it's not like he asked for it. Hamasaki was the one who came here picking a fight. I'm done here. He turns back to his computer and types nonsense, fingers flying angrily over the keyboard. The man doesn't move from his seat in the chair and Naruto's hands curl into fists. He turns to him and fixes an aggravated glare on the man. Hamasaki's eyes are lowered on the desk. Slowly, he lifts them back up to meet the Hokages. I loved Hinata before I even knew what love was. He says with absolute conviction. I told you I wouldn't leave until I made you see reason, and if I have to show you how deeply I feel about this, then I will. I'm not interested in your fairy tales. Hokage-sama, Hamasaki pleads. If you care about Hinata as much as you say you do, then listen. Naruto's stare becomes heavy. A large part of him wonders how it ever came to this. Why is he being so hateful to a man that only wants a minute of his time? How could he ever dismiss another person the way others had dismissed him before? But the much more alarming question is why he can't bear to listen to anything this man had to say. And yet he also knows why. Can feel the answer in every fiber of his being. Ultimately, it is the subject in question that forces Naruto to slowly nod his head once. She wouldn't like this. If she saw how he was treating this man, her husband, the father of her child, she'd never look at him the same way. You have 5 minutes. He sits at his desk and stares out the window. The sky is a hazy lavender, the sun setting behind a few clouds. The village is blanketed with the stillness of dusk. It is a beautiful sight. To see the village he loves so much, the village he has dedicated his entire life to see it so peaceful and calm is a blessing. He knows that. To be sitting in the Hokage's office, his hat on his desk, the collar of his cloak pressed on his clavicle, it's something he's always dreamed of. He became acknowledged. He saved the world. He brought Sasuke back home. He is the Hokage. This was everything he ever wanted. And yet, his eyes shift down, watching from the corner of the window as Hamasaki trails out of the building and slowly makes his way across the village back to his home, his family. Somehow, the miserable-looking shopkeeper with nothing to his name has everything he has ever wanted. And everything he can never have. I was 7 when I first met her. She was 4. Every week, she would visit my family's apothecary with her mother to buy seeds and the ingredients for a salve. She was quiet and always hid behind her mother's skirt. But sometimes she would look up at me and ask if she could help measure the ingredients. One day, her mother stopped coming, but she never stopped visiting us. She was nice and polite. I thought she was cute. But also sad. He packs up his things, loading them into his briefcase. His eyes are hard. They sting. Sometimes she'd come in so bruised up that we couldn't help but ask if she was okay. She always said she was fine, just some intense training, that was all. And she'd try to smile, but it never reached her eyes. I learned she was the heiress to the Hyuga clan, and my first thought was that she could never be anything like them. But she kept trying, even if it never got better for her. That's when I would start thinking about her, hoping she was okay. I wanted to tell her that she was strong, no matter what anyone said. But I figured that didn't mean much coming from someone like me. I'll always regret that. He sits and waits for the sun to go down. His work is left untouched on his desk. We didn't talk much. I guess we were both too shy. But I remember the day she came running into the shop, all out of breath, and so excited she could hardly stop moving. She showed my mother and me her forehead protector. She had just become a genin and she needed to stock up on everything so she could make ointment for her teammates. That was the first time she looked me straight in the eye and she smiled. A real smile. She was so happy. As he slowly leaves the office, he passes by Shikamaru, who is at his own desk sorting paperwork. Their eyes meet. Shikamaru clears his throat before asking, "Was it all taken care of?" There is a pause. And then, yeah, she didn't come very often after that. I guess she was out on missions with her teammates. And I would miss her. I heard how dangerous it was to be a genin. I was afraid for her. He walks home slowly. Leaves crunch under his boots. His cape blows behind him in a breeze. I was in the crowd the day of the Chunin exams. I saw her sitting with her teammate in the audience. I felt bad that she didn't make it to the final round, but I was also relieved. I learned a lot that day. I learned about her cousin, her father, her uncle. I found out why she was always so sad. And I also found out about you. When he comes home, he sees the lights are off. His wife and son are already in bed. They won't miss him if he needs to make a detour. She was happier after that. Her cousin started accompanying her to our shop. I tried to introduce myself and he stared at me until I excused myself to run to the back. It took him a long time before he ever bothered to look my way. I think he might have known how I felt about her. I don't think he liked it. His leg dangles off the edge of the Hokage monument. The moon is larger than he has ever seen it. I kept hearing your name. Everywhere I turned, someone was always talking about you. It didn't bother me, not until her teammates came in with her, encouraging her to say goodbye to you before you left. I saw her face, the way her eyes lit up, how she turned so pink. She looked so pretty. She never looked at me like that. When he's here, he feels like he is at the top of the world. He wants to stay up here and never go back down. After you left, she trained harder than I ever saw her. I was glad, because it meant she needed to make her salves more often. I tried talking to her more. If she wasn't in a hurry, she'd ask me how my day was. It was always so boring compared to hers. She started growing out her hair too. She was 14 and becoming a woman. Every time I saw her, I thought there wasn't another girl in the world who could match up to her. She was such a good person. Noble and kind and compassionate. And she was beautiful. I hoped you would never come back. But you did. Mom, he whispers to himself. I made a mistake. I hardly ever saw her after that. She would come and go. I didn't know much about what was going on, but even I could tell that something serious was happening. The village didn't seem as peaceful as it did before. And then the earth shook and the shop collapsed on us. There was so much screaming. I got hurt, but my mother was trapped under the roof. And then she came. She was only 15 and so small and petite, but she saved us. She pushed the pillars off us, took my hand and pulled me up. I didn't know how strong she was until that day, when she carried me and my mother to safety all the way to the medics. She held my hand, told me that everything would be all right. And then she disappeared. She was saving people, and I had a bad feeling in my gut. That something terrible would happen to her. I should have never listened to you. The shinobi around us were yelling that the Akatsuki were going after the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. They were winning. They had him pinned. One of them said your name. And my heart stopped. You were wrong. The village was decimated. We were all blown away by something so powerful. They said it was you. They said the Kyuubi got free because a girl tried to save him. He saw her die. He lost control. All they talked about was you. Nobody even said her name. My world fell apart. And I knew I loved her. And I knew she loved you. I can't fix this. But she's strong. She lived. When I saw her at the medic tent, anyways, she lived and I don't think words can describe what I felt. I wanted to talk to her, thank her for saving us, but she was busy. I thought she'd be with you. I was so sure after everything that you two would. Anyways, I didn't see her much. Only in passing, but she'd always smile at me and ask me how my mother was. I realized too late that she had left to fight in the war. I was devastated, and I promised myself if she managed to come back to me, that I would tell her how I felt. It's too late. As you know, she did come back and I was ready to live up to my promise. But, her cousin, I knew it wasn't the right time. I waited. I watched her. I watched you. I knew that you had gotten closer, I suppose. Sometimes I would see you alone together and I thought, well, you weren't. But then you left for your first tour and I saw my chance. So the next time I saw her, I asked her if she would get dinner with me. She was, too busy, I suppose. But I kept asking. Maybe I was being a bit annoying. The weeks passed by and I persisted. She kept turning me down, and I was discouraged. She's incredibly loyal, as you know. She was waiting for you. But I couldn't give up. The day you were coming back, I hadn't gotten any closer to getting her to agree. I was so sure it was over. But, well, you always surprise, Hokage-sama. There is no response. And he realizes that, unlike before, this time no one is going to help him with this. No one he can turn to. No one who would understand. No one except, he drops his head into his palms. He hurt her. He hurt her so much without a second thought. After that day, I didn't see her for a long time. Her friends came to my shop often, asking if she stopped by. They were alarmed when I told them she didn't. I suppose they were looking for her. Eventually, I decided enough was enough. I went to the Hyuga compound and asked to see her. She came, and I could see in her face that she was going to turn me away. I don't know what made me do it, but I told her that I was in love with her and to give me a chance. I don't know what I was expecting, but she looked at me like I grew two heads and asked me to leave. But I kept coming back. The guards always tried to scare me away. I didn't care. I would bring flowers and chocolates and letters that she wouldn't accept, but I didn't let it stop me. The very last time I went to her, her father took me by the collar and dragged me away. But I saw her watching from the window, and when our eyes met, she smiled at me. She was laughing. She looked happier than I had seen her in a long, long time. The next day, she came to the shop. She agreed to see me and we met a nearby park the next day. He thinks of the day he first saw them, at the park, nervous and worried, but hopeful. He could have stopped it. Almost had, he remembers. But he didn't, because he never doubted that Hinata could take care of herself. And he never doubted in his firm belief that she would never leave his side. And maybe it's his own self-absorbed arrogance, but he never thought about what could have been happening. He never pondered at the fact that he hardly ever saw her, never thought she might have been suffering all alone, never gave a second thought to anything happening outside of his personal life that was slowly but surely spiraling out of control. He never thought he would have to worry for her, never would even harbor the idea that she needed him. And it's selfish, but he can't help it. He wants her here now, comforting him, telling him everything he needs to hear, and then everything would make sense again. But she'll never do that for him again, will she? This time, she won't save him. She didn't have to agree, but she did. I wasn't the only one pursuing her, but she chose me. Out of all the others, civilians, and shinobi, and even that heir from another clan, she gave me a chance. Even when her friends would see me coming and roll their eyes, she never turned her back on me. For a whole year, I made her happy again. She let me hold her hand, kiss her, love her. She forgot you. She wanted to be with me. Even when I knew her family would never let somebody like her marry somebody like me, she fought to be with me too. Her father told her she would never lead the clan if she disobeyed him. She told him she didn't care. She left them and lived with me in my old awful apartment. She married me. She gave me a daughter. She's mine now. She is not his anymore. Not his to depend on, or turn to, or call for anymore. Not his to wonder about. Not his to think of. Not his to worry for. Not his to hope for. Not his to fight for. Not his to rage for. Not his to cry for. Not his to smile for. Not his to hurt. Not his to abandon. Not his to regret over. Of course I wondered about you. But, whatever you two had, it's over. You married. And, if you don't mind my saying so, the First Lady is a beautiful woman. Your son is a prodigy. And she is happy for you. Maybe you should be happy for her too. How the hell can anyone expect him to be happy over something like this? How can he? He couldn't even if he tried. He doesn't want to be happy for her. And even if it kills him, his agony is the one thing that makes it real. What they had was real. What they shared, people spent lifetimes searching for. He couldn't just let it go. And even if it went nowhere, he had to try. Hokage-sama, his eyes are hard and unforgiving as he stares down into the village. If you don't keep away from her, he knows that Hamasaki loves her, wants her, needs her. I will take her, but he needs her too. And we will leave. Blood boils in his veins, fury curling his lip and furrowing his brow. He is livid. Konoha is her home. He is her home, and though he is ashamed, though his guilt feels so heavy it consumes him every second of the day, though he hates himself for his weakness, he will not give up. He never goes back on his word. And he had promised Hinata he would always fight for her. He vowed to win. The Hokage slinks off the monument, into the night, with his mind made up. I will take my leave now. Thank you for listening. It's cold outside. Staring ahead at the Hokage monument in the distance, he drops back into his form. Concentrates on his stance, the flow of chakra circulating through him. Strike once, twice, hold your ground. He breathes in, breathes out, strike once, twice, don't break form, and then the sliding door behind him is thrown open, and he drops his stance, smiling. Daddy, come play with us. He turns around, his grin huge, as little Boruto jumps on him, and Naruto pretends to stagger under his weight, startled at the feeling of Himawari's little body also jumping onto his. He drops to the ground dramatically, clutching at his kids like he never wants to let them go. Don't go outside in your bare feet. And then there is soft padding heading his way. Shoulder-cropped dark silky hair bobs as she cranes her head outside, bangs parting in that familiar way on the side of her forehead. And though her lips are set in a disapproving half-smile, her eyes are bright and playful. All right, he glances at her mischievously. Boruto, Himawari, his stare drops down to them and their blue gleaming eyes. How about a snowball fight? His wife's eyes widen and she is about to voice her concern of them catching a cold amongst the excited shouts of, snowball fight. When Boruto shouts, take that, and a slab of snow is lobbed at her. Her yelp is unavoidable and Naruto and Himawari can't help their shocked, amused giggles as they watch the scene. Hinata wipes the snow from her face, stern with shock, but it melts away with a laugh. All right, Boruto. You asked for it. And she crouches down to scoop up her own snow, and the kids go mad with excitement. He watches them and laughs and feels so warm that he forgets snow is seeping into his pants. Watch out, he warns. You know when your mom gets serious, she's super. His eyes snap open, and then lower. His room is cold. Must have been why he dreamed of snow. Slowly, he sits up, the sheets falling off his bare chest and he dips his head into his hands, breathing in deeply to clear his head. To his right, the blankets shuffle and then still. He glances at his wife's peaceful sleeping face. His chest feels heavy again. He turns and lifts himself off the bed, heading to the kitchen for a cup of cold milk. The house is silent. He's been having these dreams lately. Scenes that felt so real, he could have sworn they were memories. But they're not. They are illusions, figments of his imagination, fantasies, and deceptions. He stands at the window and stares out into the empty village, the night dark and daunting. Without a second thought, he turns and slips into his boots, pulling a t-shirt on and shrugging a jacket over it. He leaves quietly, locking the door behind him before heading off. For a few minutes, he wanders. Trails the empty streets he used to run through with angry patrols hot at his heels. He remembers laughing and shouting and being an annoying brat that was so lonely he used to talk to his plants. He pauses at the shift in the air, alert and tense. A kick in his senses, an instinctive pull, like his name was called. Because it was. Just like before, when they were so closely connected he could sense her without even trying to, could hear her thoughts, feel her pain. And just like before, he leaps into the abyss to save her. He knows she is there before he even sees her. Could feel her emotions so strongly that they become his as well. And, like always, his body reacted without a second thought. He went to her. She sits cross-legged in front of the grave's plaque, so distraught she isn't even in her proper Caesar position. Her shoulders are shaking, her back hunched as she huddles into herself. She suffers silently, as she always has. He stands a few feet behind her, his heart hammering at the sight. She isn't even aware of him and that alarms him too. The sky is dark, and the air is cold, and Hinata cries like no one can see her. Perhaps, in the past, a girl's tears would have scared him enough to keep his distance. But he is wiser now, and the sight of Hinata's fragility doesn't haunt him as strongly as it used to. His sandaled feet carry him closer to her, enough so that he is standing right behind her. When he speaks, it's almost a whisper. Are you okay? Her body stiffens in response and he can feel the conflicting emotions in her. She does not turn to him. Slowly, her head tilts to stare up at him from the corner of her eyes. They are hard. What are you doing here? Her icy tone sends chills up his spine. He wets his lips uncomfortably. You're crying. He doesn't know what to say but state the obvious. Quickly, she wipes at her eyes with the back of her hand, like a child, all the while drawing up her knees to her chest. He waits as she pulls herself together, swallowing uncomfortably. Her hand runs through the short tousled mane of her hair, messy from restless sleep, before dragging to rub at her tired eyes. As he watches, he comments to himself how unusual it is to see Hinata so unkempt. She is always clean and neat and put together. But not tonight. Gingerly, he steps forward and lowers to the ground beside her, staring hard at her. Her distressed eyes are focused ahead, her pale lips tightened. Her rumpled hair sways in a light breeze and, like him, she is also in warm pajamas with a jacket thrown on top. He pictures her, awake in her dark small apartment, pulling on her shoes and coat and heading out into the night. Hinata? He says heavily. It's the middle of the night. What are you doing here? And though Hinata has always been the weird type, crying in a cemetery in the dead of night is a new low for her. For a long few seconds, she doesn't respond, doesn't look at him, and then her head lowers. I didn't know where else to go. For a split second, he wants to challenge that, but then he thinks of himself at the top of the Hokage monument, never wanting to return. His eyes soften. They are silent again. It's not strained or heavy, just patient. He wonders if she also has trouble sleeping. If she sees him in her dreams as often as he sees her. If her mind also tricks her with memories of another life. I am happy. Don't worry about me. We're all married and happy, so stop ruining it. I made her happy again. Maybe you should be happy for her too. He sees her glassy, mirthless eyes, her colorless complexion, her heavy heart. She looks so tired, so defeated, so unsure. But he is here. He is here now. He's not going anywhere. He clears his throat. All right? He asks gruffly. She also clears her throat lightly, shutting her eyes tightly to regain some clarity, and then she nods. Must be bad, huh? What? She glances at him from the corner of her eyes. You don't cry. Unless it's bad. Like real bad. He says it like it's the most obvious thing in the world, recalling the very few times he's ever seen Hinata's tears. Both times had been life-changing, to say the least. Hinata doesn't respond to his claim, looking down at the ground with the faintest pull around her lips. The closest thing to a scoff he's ever seen her make. The sight makes him swallow uncomfortably. But, even if it's bad, you'll be okay. Everything will turn out alright. Right? He presses. There is an odd tension after he says that, and Hinata turns to him with a strange look in her eyes. He doesn't have much time to ponder about it, because she turns away from him again. I don't know. He nods slowly. So, he begins quietly, his voice rough and scratchy. A part of him is hesitant to bring him up, but he decides this is something she should know. He came to see me, you know. She doesn't even ask who he's talking about, it's a given. I know, she responds quietly, with a strange gruffness in his voice, a knot of tense emotions and insecurity lodging itself in his throat. He asks, did you ask him to? She doesn't hesitate. No, and then, he shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. Whatever he said, I'm sorry. For a split second, the corners of his lips turned up in victory. But then she turns to him. You shouldn't be here. His mouth flattens. They both stare ahead, rereading the name of the plaque in front of them. And Naruto hopes with all his being that Neji isn't watching them right now. He breathes in heavily through his nose and can't help his scoff. Why? Because he said so? Her eyes lower. Naruto stares at her, waiting for an answer he doesn't expect. Watching her now, silent and tight-lipped at the mention of her husband's demands, he is reminded of Tsunade's words. But spending the rest of your life with a person that matches you in everything? It doesn't work out. He thinks of himself and his wife and slammed doors, heated stares, and resentful insults that were responded to with equal fervor. He thinks of Hinata and her husband and quiet frowns, silent treatments, distant eyes that were met with reticence and insecurity. He thinks of the day he sensed her inner turmoil and rushed to her aid. Her refusal to talk about what was hanging so heavily in her heart. The admission that she just wanted to be alone. He thinks he understands. Just so you know, he begins, his voice low in his throat. I don't take orders from him. I know. She responds instantly. It was our business. It had nothing to do with you. I am truly sorry he bothered you. If I had known, I would have. She trails off, clutching at her sweater. Naruto sighs softly through his nose and leans back on his haunches, staring up into the dark sky. Besides him, Hinata looks at him curiously. Nothing to do with me, huh? He murmurs. At his words, Hinata looks away from him, making a point not to even glance in his direction. Do you really believe that? She swallows. Regardless, he shouldn't have involved you. He ignores her attempts at dropping the subject. Do you know what he asked me to do? He's told me before. Her eyes hang even lower. For a while now, he's been talking about moving to a smaller village. I didn't really know why until last night. She pauses and her eyes scrunch close. I am sorry, I shouldn't be talking to you about this. She's on her feet before he can even get a word in, and in a panic, he grabs her wrist and they both freeze. He hasn't touched her in years, hasn't felt her hand since that day so long ago. Wait, please just wait, please. His grip on her wrist is strong and he stands to his full height, towering over her small frame. Wordlessly, she backs away from him, too stunned to even snatch her hand back from him. Don't be afraid. Whatever he said to you, don't be afraid. I won't let him take you. She shakes her head repeatedly. Why you can't? Don't say that. He needs her to believe him. He needs her to trust him. He needs her to depend on him. I can and I will. Whether he likes it or not, I'm the Hokage and what I say goes, and if I say that you're staying in the village, then you're staying in the village. The filter he has forcibly constructed over the years is all but forgotten and he says everything that comes to him. She shakes her head weakly. The Hokage is the leader of the shinobi. And I'm not shinobi anymore. We are only citizens, a civilian family. He wets his lips nervously, his heart picking up speed. Himawari. Himawari is shinobi, even if she's only in the academy. He pulled her from the academy last week. He never wanted her to be shinobi. She responds in a clipped tone that flares his nerves. He's never, not once in his life, seen Hinata's temper show itself. But when it came to her daughter, he thinks of Hamasaki and his insecurities with his Hinata's double life. Even Naruto could see how much it bothered him, his bitterness at having no place in that world she shared with everyone but him. He can only imagine how Hamasaki has vented that frustration. Then, he swallows. Then this has been going on for a while now. Hasn't it? She doesn't respond. It has. He's trying to control you and you know it. That's not how it is. She murmurs feebly. Why didn't you say anything? I was right there. He backtracks as soon as he says it, realizing the multiple ways Hinata can react to such a bold claim. Or Takiba or Shino or Kurenai-sensei or Sakura or your family. They all think you're fine and happy but you're not. You didn't say anything. You never say anything. And even he feels frustrated at her for her lifelong habit of keeping her feelings bottled inside, never said aloud, never acted on, just to build up and layer upon layers of insecurities. Why? He pleads lowly. And just like before, the knowledge that she didn't trust in him enough to depend on him tears at him. Her eyes lowered to the ground, refusing to meet his. Because it's not your business. She responds shortly, her voice not giving away anything. His grip on her wrist tightens. You're my business. You'll always be my business. She gives a sharp sigh and frowns. Please don't say things like that. Why not? It's true. She hangs her head with a sigh. Naruto-kun. She whispers, not daring to look up at him. You shouldn't even be here. Why? He asks, knowing the answer perfectly. Her breath stutters in her throat, a desperate plead in her eyes at his question. Because you can't. You can't. I can't do this with you. I can't do this to him. He doesn't understand. He won't like this. Her words rush out in a panic, her hand pulling away from his to knead at her clothes, but he doesn't let go. Hinata, he interrupts firmly. What do you want? She shakes her head fiercely. You shouldn't be here. Then tell me you want me to leave. He challenges and Hinata stills. Tell me and I'll never bother you ever again. Tell me and mean it. Her pale watery eyes shut, her brow strained. You can't, can you? He says quietly. Hinata shakes her head. What I want doesn't matter, though. She murmurs softly, in true Hinata fashion. What he's asking of me isn't wrong. I need to honor him. Honor him? Naruto's blood boils at the very idea. Hinata, you weren't there. He was threatening me and spouting all this bullshit. Hinata, you're like a trophy to him. He thinks he won or something just 'cause you married him. I did marry him. Yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't have. There is a tense silence after that. Hinata's lips purse tightly, her brow furrowing. Her eyes harden. Her tone deepens. You of all people, you don't get to say that to me. And for the first time in a long time for the world's most powerful shinobi, he is afraid. He has never seen Hinata angry, much less made her angry, and it frightens him even more that he can't predict what she'll do next. And now he's angry at himself for saying something so awful to her, even if it's true. Her own words also cut at him, the knowledge that, in her heart, Hinata had stripped him of any rights he had to her. He wishes she'd yell, hit him, make him feel like the piece of shit he knows he is. He's used to that. Anything but look at him the way she's looking at him now with those sharp, unforgiving eyes that she only used on the battlefield. Like he was an enemy. And then she softens, lets out the breath he didn't know she was holding. Her eyes lowered to the grass, contemplative and thoughtful. His mouth parts, ready to apologize when she sighs through her nose. Why are you doing this to me? At her pained tone, he bites on the corner of his lip, nervous to say the wrong thing again. I shouldn't have said that. It doesn't deter her. Why are you here, Naruto-kun? She looks like how he feels inside, confused, and guilty, and hopeless, and desperate for an answer. He clears his throat again, trying to suppress that knot of emotion. Listen, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry it took so long, but I'm here now. I'll think of something. You can depend on me, Hinata. Her eyes shut again, this time in impatience. Naruto-kun, please. You don't need to do this. You don't owe me anything. That's not it. That's not why I'm doing this. He says firmly, exasperatedly, studying her rigid face. At his outburst, she softens, a question on her parting lips before she immediately decides against it. But the issue still lingers in the air. The reason why he can't stay away. He wonders if she knows. Hinata, I care about you. Don't you know that? He stares hard at her, the wisps of dark hair, the tense clench of her jaw, the shimmering vastness of her eyes, until she has no choice but to offer a stiff nod. Okay, so? His grip around her wrist loosens, enough so that the rough pad of his thumb runs over the smooth curve of her palm. Her hand trembles at his soft touch, and his stare lifts from their hands to her tilted face, her unfocused eyes. So that's why I won't let go. His hand closes over hers. He waits. Hinata does not respond, does not look at him, does not acknowledge that he has said something so impactful. He grips her hand tighter. Say something. A few seconds pass before she finally responds in a light whisper, I don't know what to say. He doesn't buy it for a second. Hinata always knows what to say. Just say it. Whatever's in your heart, you know. I can't. Why? Because it'll ruin everything. Hinata whispers lowly. Everything I've done, everything I've worked for, I can't just throw it away. She looks up at him. Please understand. Please. I can't do this. Seeing her now, pleading and panicked and pushing him away, he wonders how he ever found strength just by looking at her. Right now, all he feels is weakness. I'm not asking you to. I'm not, I swear. That's not what I want. Now she looks at him expectantly. And he knows that he has to answer her. Has to answer that question that has plagued him since forever. Her eyes draw him in as she stares. What do you want, Naruto-kun? He swallows, looks down, wets his lips. He answers lowly, deeply. I can't lose you. I need you in my life, Hinata. Even if all I can do is say hi or carry your groceries or walk you home or listen to you talk about your husband and your daughter for the rest of my life, that's enough for me. I won't complain. I won't ask for anything more. I won't, I swear. But if you leave, if he takes you away from me, if I never see you again, I don't know what I'll do. He is aware that they are in the ultimate no-win situation. If they continue to see each other, Hamasaki will take her away. If they agree to stay away, then he'll lose her. It's an ultimatum he refuses to give into, and he hopes that Hinata feels the same way. He watches the way her eyes fill with tears, beating at her lower lash line. Hinata lowers her eyes from his, staring at the ground. She begins and then squints her eyes. He holds his breath, waiting. I don't believe you, she says decisively. A grunt of frustration leaves him and he drops her hand to pull at his hair. What the hell do you want me to say, Hinata? Do you want me to get on my knees? Do you want me to tell you how long I've been holding this in? How long I've been thinking about you? Is that what you want? Hinata steps back from him, an arm braced in front of her defensively. Stop it. No. He steps forward, challenging eyes focused on her guarded ones, surging towards her as she backs off. You stop it. Stop acting like you don't know what I'm talking about. Stop pushing me away. Stop looking at me like that. Stop walking away from me. Hinata pauses mid-step, frozen in place, as her eyes narrow. I'm not the one who walked away. His frustration is clipped at once, throat locking with a surge of emotion. Watching him carefully, Hinata softens. I'm sorry, but you can't just say something like that to me. Not after everything. She looks at him expectantly, as if waiting for his outburst. For once, he doesn't know what to say. He is silent. You are my friend, she says softly. You mean a lot to me. You always have. You know that. That's why. Her eyes lower self-consciously. It's hard for me to let go. I should have stopped this a long time ago, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. She bites at her lower lip, eyes lowering. But I was being selfish. And stupid. Naruto-kun, I'm not a little girl anymore. I'm a wife, a mother, and I have a family to take care of. But when I'm with you, you make me feel like I'm young again, back when being in love with you was something that made me stronger. She admits without a trace of reticence, no hesitation found in her voice or her eyes as she looks up at him. She looks so calm, and he can't fathom how when his own heart is galloping inside his chest like it wants to bust out and jump into her hands. But, he thinks, it doesn't matter how old they are. It doesn't matter if he has a wife, and she has a husband. It doesn't matter if they have children. Clans don't matter. Duties don't matter. Nothing matters when it comes to her. It'd always be the same. But that's not the case anymore. She continues. I have a family that depends on me. Himawari, I need to be strong for her. And my husband, I need to honor him. No matter what everyone says, I do love him. Loves him. She loves him. Naruto's stomach drops. His throat tightens. His mouth dries. He feels like he's been blindsided by a blow he never saw coming, complete and utter betrayal. A betrayal that feels nothing like the pain he felt at Sasuke's treason. This is a treachery that boils in his stomach and ices in his veins. Numb everywhere except where it counted. His hand absent-mindedly clutches at his chest, as if trying to soothe his erratic heart. He doesn't even know what he feels, has never felt anything like it. Not grief, but close. Not hatred, but close. His knuckles flex reactively to the images he paints in his head, of the appalling instinct to make Hinata a widow. That was his love. It was his. He holds on to the terrible thoughts, relishes in them for only a few seconds before pushing them away. He can feel Hinata's stare, and he can't bring himself to look at her. Even if he had always known that Hinata was not his, her heart was. She had promised it to him so long ago. It was why, even when she married and everyone told him to let it go, he had never doubted her. Her word meant everything to him. She was never supposed to stop loving him. He doesn't even know how much time has passed in silence before he is able to bring himself to speak. You said you would never go back on your word. There is another few seconds of silence, as if Hinata is still trying to comprehend exactly what he just said to her. What? You said that. You did. And you said you would always love me. He pauses, having never acknowledged out loud that Hinata had indeed loved him. He waits for her to remember, and he knows by the way her hands have stopped their clenching that she has. Was that a lie, then? Was it all a lie? He looks at her, eyes focused and angry and burning. Retrospectively, Hinata's eyes hold nothing more than guilt and sadness. You asked me to say whatever is in my heart. Hinata reminds him lowly. And in my heart, I love my family. I would do anything to make them happy. I would do anything to protect them. Her fingers clench tightly, and she breaks her stare for a few seconds to stare at the ground pensively before meeting his eyes once more. But I'm still in love with you. Even after all these years, even after everything that's happened, I never stopped thinking about you. I never moved on. I never stopped loving you. Her eyes scrunch close, fighting against the surge of tears he can see just barely brimming through her lashes. And Naruto, he can't breathe. He can't even feel his legs. Or his arms. His chest. Whatever was grounding him to the physical world, it was slipping out of his fingers. It was like an out-of-body experience watching the scene, not daring to believe that Hinata would confess her love for him yet again. That everyone had been wrong, that he had been right to hold on. Because Hinata is still there, still at his side, still holding a candle for him. He wants to be happy. He does, but the smile doesn't come to him. The electricity coursing through his veins, the weightlessness of his soul, the pounding of his heart, it feels incredible. But also dreadful. Dreadful because he knows it's not over yet. Hinata breathes in deeply through her nose, running a hand absent-mindedly through her hair to soothe herself. And then she continues, but it's wrong and it needs to stop. And for you, I know that you don't see it that way. You don't see it the way I do. You don't feel the way I do. He wants to retort that, but Hinata unknowingly cuts him off. I want to be your friend. I do, so much. I don't want to lose you either. I want to sit with you and talk with you and walk with you, and I just want to be with you. She smiles grimly. I haven't changed. Even after everything, I haven't changed at all. Her smile drops. Her eyes lower. And she looks so much like the little girl he first noticed in the arena, uncomfortable and afraid and so ashamed that his heart crumbles. She sighs, dark brows furrowing, pale eyes lowered to the ground. A few seconds pass in silence. I'm sorry. I should go. He is instantly shaken from his trance. What? No, you can't leave. Naruto-kun, I've already said too much. I shouldn't have. I need to go. His gut wrenches in his stomach, heart pounding violently, a siren ringing through his ears. It's now or never. There's no time left. Do it now. Now. Stay with me. Hinata does a double take, eyes widening and questioning, as if she misheard him. What? She mumbles under her breath. He hesitates before reminding himself there's no time to waste. Hinata, I want us to be together. Hinata is deathly silent, wide eyes staring at him, unmoving. You're not serious. I am. She looks around helplessly, as if looking for the right words to say. If this is because of what I just said, it's not. Well, I mean, yeah, kinda, but that's not why. What are you? Hinata's breathing picks up, eyes wide and unblinking. You're not making sense. Why are you saying this? Because I should have said it a long time ago. He says firmly. Hinata, I messed up. Okay? I messed up and I ruined my life and yours too, and I'll never be able to put into words how much I regret it and how sorry I am. And everyone keeps saying that it's too late and that I should just forget about it and to just leave you alone, but they're wrong. They don't know the first thing about it. But you do. You do, Hinata. You know. You've always known, haven't you? Known. Hinata murmurs softly, still not understanding. That we're supposed to be together. Naruto says just as softly. We are. Ever since we were kids. He glances down once, nudges a clump of dirt with the side of his boot. It was always the same. When I think back on it. He smiles. That's what everything was, wasn't it? Everything we did for each other, everything we said, everything we felt, that's what it was, huh? It was this. He feels like a 12-year-old again, staring at Hinata, and wondering what she was thinking. Saying all the things he's never been able to say before. He probably doesn't make much sense, but he knows she understands him. Licking his lips, he continues. Hinata, this whole time, it was supposed to be us. You and me. It's like we belong together. Or something. He blinks, wishing he was better at this. I'm sorry it took me so long to see it. I'm sorry, but I can still fix things. It's not too late. Hinata still doesn't say anything. But she is listening, and that is enough for him. For now, he considers himself lucky she hasn't fled already. He just has to say the right thing. He knows it, and then she'll see. She has to see. I'll do whatever it takes, Hinata. Whatever you want, I'll do it. Just, stay with me. Hinata presses her lips tightly together, taking deep breaths, trying to ground herself in all the uncertainty he's thrown at her. You want to, be with me? Yes. He answers quickly, not surprised she still hasn't quite to terms with the whole situation. Hinata's eyes brighten, staring at him in wonder before they lower. But what about? She trails off uncertainly, no doubt afraid of the backlash of something like this. Naruto processes her words silently, eyes simmering in their heat as he stares at her. Nobody has to know. She stills and he knows that wasn't the right thing to say. Had Hinata been any other woman, he knows he'd have been pummeled into next week. But she's always been different, hasn't she? So she simply stands there and looks at him, silent and unmoving, unflinching even in the face of complete disrespect. His shame engulfs him, and he lowers his eyes, regretful that he let his impulsive desperation speak for him. I didn't mean that, not the way you think. I know, Hinata says lowly, and Naruto lets out a breath of relief, momentarily thankful she knew him so well. But he's not done yet. I'll separate from her. Hinata's eyes snap to his, wide and in complete disbelief. What? I'll do it. If that's what it takes, then I'll do it. A small part of him distresses at the proclamation. Leaving his wife will be a lot easier said than done, but the other side hardly cares. Hinata wets her lips, hands clutching nervously at her sleeves. Boruto, he won't be forgiving. His eyes lower. He'll understand one day. And he forces a smile. And Himawari is strong. She'll be okay. At her daughter's name, Hinata's hands pause their ministrations. If you're worried about it getting messy, don't even sweat it, Hinata. I'll take care of everything. Her eyes drop shut. But it's not that simple. Of course, he knows that. A scandal like this will rock the village for months. He'll be at the center of public scrutiny, and damn Shikamaru's gonna kill him, but it's worth it. If he can be with Hinata, without anybody trying to stand in his way, it's worth it. He wishes he'd done this ages ago. Shit. He wishes he'd scooped her up and ran off with her before Hamasaki ever thought he had a chance. Damn, Hamasaki. But if he truly loves Hinata like he says he does, then he'd want her to be happy, wouldn't he? And she could only ever be happy with him. He glances down at her, his brow furrowing at her pained expression. He wonders if she is also thinking about her husband. And Naruto feels bad too, he does, but, well, it can't be helped. Naruto approaches her steadily. Hey. He takes her hand again, holds her wrist in his palm. It'll be okay. He needs her to believe him. He needs her to trust him. Hinata, I know it's not perfect. Everything sucks. I know that. But if we do this, we can be together. I'll take care of you. You won't ever have to worry again. I promise. Her head shakes weakly. How do you know? She gazes up at him, her iridescent eyes large and deep, strands of her dark hair swaying into her face. She looks so perfect and beautiful that nothing matters anymore. And the words that always tugged at his tongue, that longed to be voiced, to be acknowledged, that he always gulped back in fear of what would happen if he let them go, of making it real, it doesn't matter anymore. Because I love you. And it feels so good to finally say it. I think I always have. So right. And I know I always will. So true. Immediately, Hinata lifts her head. A blush warms her complexion. Naruto-kun, she says softly, and their eyes meet in such a way that he thinks time must have stopped. There is complete silence, complete stillness, and his feet drag him closer, his eyes never leaving hers. So many emotions pass through him that he can't distinguish them, only feel them in their fullest intensity. His pounding heart is the only thing he is sure of. He can hear it beating desperately in his ears. Now he stands so close to her that their chests graze, and he can smell the sweetness of her shampoo, see the quivering white pupils of her eyes, feel the heat of her body. The tight hold of his hand around her wrist loosens just enough to slip to her fingers, just as the stare of his eyes slip down to her lips. And as he slowly descends, eyes lidding heavily, he feels her fingers grip on tightly to his, like he's anchoring her to this world. And now their lips part and hover helplessly over each other so closely that her breath becomes his. His lidded eyes glance once into hers, for her permission, but when he sees she has already closed her eyes, waiting, he doesn't hesitate as his lids fall shut and his lips press gently into hers. The crickets sing, his fingers thread into her hair. The sky lightens, and Naruto and Hinata kiss like nobody can see them. They were wrong. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.